Law.
Yeah, I hate him. What's that guy even talk about? Pain pills?
This
Right.
guy.
Okay, it's your turn to bring us in, my guy.
All right, welcome to the Creatures Cortex. We have a special guest, Cody Connolly, today. Yep, and a longtime friend of ours. I can't even remember how long I've been friends with you.
Just say forever.
Forever.
Sure, yeah.
I know, right?
Decade
we
plus.
have all these people that we've known on for quite a long time, but it's nice. It's nice to have been here and meet a lot of people.
It's a
along the
small,
way.
close-knit community within the metal group.
But there is a lot of new faces.
That's true.
A lot. You know, and it's pretty cool.
Well, that's our children coming up into the scene.
Yeah, literal children. Yeah, there's like a lot of high school age kids at a lot of shows these days. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Barn was bringing the fury when Tiamat's was playing with them, and they were bringing countless underage kids
Right.
with
Yeah.
them.
Those shows we played in the barn, the actual barn,
Yeah.
was awesome. You know,
That
there was like a hill, and they were moshing on this hill, going up and down it. It was very spectacular.
Should have changed their band name to Epstein, man. They're bringing all the kids.
Yep, right. Good.
Yeah, they're bringing the fury.
Cody, let's talk to you about music, dude. You were in a band,
Correct.
Divinium.
Yes.
Correct. Tell us about that. What do you play in the band? What are you guys doing?
Okay. So Divinium, I play rhythm guitar in that band.
Okay.
Kind of just started as a passion project of my own to get some other musicians. You know, with a lot of things in life, I like to surround myself with smarter, more talented people than myself. You know, and so I was like, all right, I got a bunch of riffs in my head, but I'm not a necessarily like a songwriter, or at least I wasn't when I started all this. And so I was like, how do I bring this to life? Okay, so I got a hold of my buddy Davin Pena, and that dude used to play with Clipwing Divinity back in the day, and he wasn't doing anything. And so I was like, hey, help me flesh these out. And I just wanted it to just be like, let's write 2 or 3 songs and just have fun, just record them. And it eventually, you know, snowballed into being a real band. And I was lucky enough to live in a place that had a basement where I was pretty much surrounded by alleyways, major roads, and tweakers. So me and my loud amps and drums was like the least of the neighborhood's worries.
Yeah, that's how the crackheads knew it was safe, as if you were playing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nope.
And so, yeah, man, just kind of snowballed into a real band. And so, yeah, here we are.
Excellent.
What is the name Divinium mean?
So Divinium, it comes from. So if you were to do like a cursory Google search, you're pretty much just going to come up with like Call of Duty stuff.
Okay.
Because I believe that it's like a currency in that game. I never played it. It was actually a name that Raider came up with when he was singing for us. But what it is, yeah, absolutely, shout out to Raider. But what it is, as far as I understand it to be, is it is a Bob Lazar. So Bob Lazar is a cat that most people would know
UFOs?
as a alleged Area 51 employee who, you know, he got famous through the Art Bell Coast to Coast AM circuit, telling his story and everything. Well, he talked about Element
115.
Yeah, and that's the official name of it was called Divinium. So that's where it kind of comes from.
Okay, cool. So this is what powers UAPs. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Cody, tell us what kind of gear you're playing in that band, my dude.
Oh,
What are you jamming on?
Okay. So that, yeah, I'm gonna light up. It's kind of the one thing I'm really dirty about.
He likes his gear.
Yeah, for sure. So guitar wise, right now, I've got a couple of ESP Eclipse 1000 models. So they're like the single cutaway Les Paul style guitars. I've got one that is simple black with a maple fretboard. I am a sucker for maple fretboards.
Same.
I slapped. I'm a huge San Jose Sharks fan. That's like the one the thing that I'm all like, sports about is like hockey.
I've been
Excellent. Hockey's going on right now.
Yeah. And I love Sharks, so I found their retro logo, slapped it on that guitar, made it look really nice. It looks as if it was painted on, So that's my main guitar. For amps right now, I've got a PV-JSX, which is the Joe Satriani signature model.
Is it 2?
Oh yeah. And so that one was based on. So the lead channel of that was based on the Crunch channel of the Triple X. So it's all part of what PV calls the Ultra Series, and it culminated, I want to say, with the JSX, was like the last of the line. So that all actually started. The Triple X started as a George Lynch signature model,
Okay.
Dokken, right?
Dokken.
So
Sure.
they had made the Triple X as a signature for him, and they were showing it off at NAMM. And then I guess the licensing deal fell through. He went to another company. I want to say Randall. But what PV did was, instead of just like collapsing the whole thing and washing their hands of it, they just said, "Fuck it, we'll just not put his name on it." And so then they just put it out as it were, as a Triple X. And so it's funny that somebody's signature amp became like the basis to create the prototype for another Joe Satriani's signature
Of
amp.
course, what a professional wants, why wouldn't they sell that?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm running a JSX for my head right now. I've got an Ingel Pro 412 cab, which is like marine grade birch. It is the heaviest cabinet I've ever lifted in my life.
Oh,
Oh, really?
I imagine it
It's-
sounds great because of that heft.
Probably
Absolutely.
some big old magnets in there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it's the English vintage 30s. But then beyond that, I'm running just for like a backup rig. I've got the Mesa Boogie Badlander head, and then just a Mesa Boogie wide body cab. So
Excellent.
yeah.
So I know you play bass and you play guitar.
Huh?
Tell us, what's your thoughts on this as a musician? What are you more prone to gravitate towards? What are you liking more as, maybe as you get older, you're liking the guitar more? Tell us about your journey from, playing bass to playing guitar and going
Sure.
through this.
Okay. So guitar has always, for me, just been something that I feel like I've got a good sense of groove. So a lot of my guitar stuff, it comes out sounding kind of like bands like Exorder, bands like Crowbar. I don't know, man. I want the pocket. I want the fucking groove. I want something that makes my head bob.
I
love aggression.
I was gonna say
riffs,
down.
Sure. Yeah. Kirk. But yeah, so for guitar, man, I'm just about the aggression, dude. Like I want my tone to sound like Gary Holt, but if Gary Holt turned that resonance knob all the way up and got some bass frequencies in there.
Make Exodus up a level.
Exactly. But as far as bass, man, that is where I'm trying right now to go through and learn a lot of like start from the ground up with learning funk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started watching a lot of stuff from people like oh gosh, what was his name? The bass player from Jamiroquai. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. But stuff like that, or like Dirk Lance from Incubus, like early Incubus, before he left. So he left after their record Morning View. But all the early Incubus, when they were an actual funk band, dude, that is just money and a half.
And it's transferable. That kind of style transferable to any style. Like you could play metal, you could play jazz, you could play country.
Absolutely.
You get that slap hop funk style,
Absolutely.
and you can play anything. Quite honestly.
Yeah, because my goal is when I'm 50, 60, 70 years old, I want to be the old guy that sits there, grabs my bass. All right, cool. What key are we playing in? All right, and just sit there and play and have fun. And guitar, I might not ever be that cat. But bass, that's kind of my goal with it. So like right now, I'm kind of starting a second band that's more in line of like the I Hate God, Crowbar, that kind of like sludgy stuff, right? So a buddy of mine, Damien, had a group called All Seeing Evil, and they were pretty goddamn proficient for that style. For coming out the gate, we played with them at Realms downtown Boise,
Okay.
and this dude has been one of my best friends for I want to say 24 years, and I've never seen him on stage. And the entire time that he was doing this band, I'd never been to a practice or anything. I just, we were just talking about it, and eventually we booked this show together. And this dude has stage presence galore. I was pretty fucking blown away, right? Well, that band just dissolved, and so picked him up. I got a buddy who's been drumming for a long time, but he's never played he's played in a lot of like country bands and stuff. But he loves like Testament, Exodus, that kind of stuff, and that's what he's been working on. And so, dude, I got the unicorn. I got the like virgin drummer who's not in 5 other bands in this valley, right?
And you could build up because you said he didn't play metal.
Yeah,
He wasn't a metal drummer, so you get to kind of introduce him to blast beats.
Which was going to bring me to the question I was going to ask you is tell me about your bandmates and about them. So you were just telling us about your drummer.
Yeah, so that's going to be this new, unnamed band so far. But yeah, Corey's been drumming for a long time. Just like I said, he hasn't played in anything heavy, although he's a big fan of the stuff. It's not a foreign concept to him. But then my homie Brian was playing in a local group called Hand Me the Knife. He was playing rhythm guitar for them, and he no longer is. So he gave me a call, and I was like, "Funny, you should fucking call me, dude, because I'm looking for a guitar player. I want to play, like I want to play bass in a band again. Now that my life's kind of calming down a little bit more, and I actually will have the time. And so it's kind of just funny how that shit works out. And the drummer Corey was like, "Dude, we can just play at my house." I'm like, "Well, there's the biggest key of all is where to goddamn play." I mean,
that's true. The band room is very important, super important.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah, even like with Divinium, like I said, we were playing in my basement. Well, I just moved out of that house. So then it was like, and I moved into a house that's like in an HOA. Like, there's no way we're going to play at full volume in my house. So I had to really put the foot down and be like, boys, we've all got to, like, all hands on deck, find a new place. And God bless him, my other guitar player, Davin in Divinium, found a super secret spot that, like, I don't really want to juice too much.
Okay,
but
don't do it. Nobody's asking you to snitch.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like I'll put it this way, man. We're renting a warehouse in downtown Caldwell.
Oh, I've seen a picture.
Yeah, dude, it's huge.
Excellent.
It's probably like our room's probably like 5 of these garages.
Nice.
It's all ceilings, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's fucking massive.
How's it sound in there?
Right now, not so great because we're in the middle. We just started moving stuff in like 2 weeks ago. So now it's okay. Bring in couches, bring in soundproofing. Like because right now it's very snappy. You know what I mean? So we've got and there's like 2 doorways that don't have doors. So I'm looking at like the Habitat for Humanity Restore, looking for doors.
Of course.
Shit like that.
Heck yeah. Tell us about some defining styles that made you the player you are today. Give us like 3 bands.
Oh, sure.
That really define your style of
what
playing
I play?
in music.
Okay.
And your love.
Okay. Well, then that's 2 different questions. So we'll go over that. I would say as far as like what I play, I would say like probably number 1 would be, number 1's going to be like The Haunted. Ever since I found those cats back in high school, man, they're, like them, Demiricus, which is really just like the second coming of Slayer, just with more aggression. And then I'd probably have to say Chimera, or like God Forbid or something like that. One of those like early 2000s when I was in high school, kind of like, metalcore.
Tribal.
Yeah.
Chimera really has some.
Yeah, Chimera's sick.
Oh, dude, yeah. Rob Arnold's one of the greatest, like, simple riff guitar writers. But as far as the shit that I love, man, like, I'll put it this way. My favorite guitar player of all time is Vernon Reid from Living Colour. Dude, so everyone knows Cult of Personality, right? Most people would write them off as like kind of a one-hit wonder band. And they really sync up with like Fishbone in this kind of a regard to me, where like they've got some really good rock stuff that everyone kind of knows them for. Fishbone more with the horn section, that Living Colour doesn't have. But they each have some heavier shit that's just like, okay, wow, this is prowess. Living Colour had a record, I want to say like 92, called Stain, that is just like a clinic of a rhythm section, like what a rhythm section needs to be. I think it was Doug Wembley is the bass player in that band. Just absolutely just immaculate. And same with Fishbone, man. They got some heavier stuff. They had a record same time, early 90s, when a lot of these bands were chasing that kind of Seattle sound or experimenting because their labels were like, hey, that's where the money's at. Give us something more,
grungy.
Fishbone had a record called Give a Monkey a Brain and he'll swear he's the center of the universe. And that album has some fucking riffs, dude.
Yeah. I'm a riff guy. I love a good riff.
Yeah. Well, after this shit, we'll have to listen to like Swim or Servitude. Those songs are so fucking cool.
Nice.
So,
what is some of your favorite memories that you have with your band playing with Divinium?
Okay. Uh, yeah, a lot of it would probably be like the after hours stuff, right? Like after practice, going in the backyard, throwing some dogs on the grill, just hanging out, right? Because what's a band? I'm in a local band, man. Like
It's almost a job
it's-
when you get there. You check in, right?
Yeah.
You clock in, and
Absolutely.
you're going to work, right? Yeah.
yeah. And so half the fun is just like everyone in both of these bands are people that I've known. They're not none of these people are hired gun strangers, but being in a band with them has been able to cultivate and grow a better true friendship,
Nice.
right? And so like that's got to be it, man. Between that and then just obviously just going in the studio, like it always gives you the tingles, right? And like waiting to hear back. Okay, let's wait for the mix is here. Let's all listen to it. Like
Who's got the best system here?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the shit that I love, man. It's just,
Is there any shows coming up that you're going to?
I'm going to, dude. There's a lot. Yeah, there's. Well, it was tonight. Was gonna be. I was gonna go, but obviously I'm here, and I'd rather be here. But next time they come,
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna go and see fucking Terror.
Yeah.
Terror and Nails are playing tonight. What is it? Tomorrow is
Is that at the Shredder?
No, Treefort Music
Okay.
Hall.
All
Yeah.
right.
I think tomorrow is Silver Sun Pickups, one of my favorite rock bands. They're like the second coming of Smashing Pumpkins, right?
Okay.
But like take away a lot of the like more like radio hits of Smashing Pumpkins and focus more on like what they did with like double albums like Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. So Silver Sun's coming. There's a really cool band out of Mexico called Ozomatli that's coming next week, and they are just too much fun. They're like a funk rock, like Latin fusion. So they take a lot of, they got a horn section, but they take a lot of like merengue music and a lot of like American rock and kind of just morph it into this awesome, just driving sound.
That sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You heard of Brujeria
Oh yeah.
from Mexico?
Oh, of course.
Love them, dude.
Absolutely.
Yo,
Yeah.
Mexican metal's sick.
Yeah.
All Mexican music is cool.
Asesino.
Yep.
Well, it's funny because like with Brujeria, which is Spanish for witchcraft,
Yep.
right? They had a bunch of members that were just a bunch of gringos, right? Because it was like they had like Billy Gould from Faith No More playing bass for them, but like they would all wear the what's it called, like a balaclava, like the head coverings,
Yeah.
and they had this like they had the lore of like, hey, we're all like actual like cartel like kingpins on the run from the FBI. So they'd like do their shows and like run off stage, like they're like running away from the guards and shit. That was awesome.
So there's a Cradle of Filth coming on the 20th, and I got tickets. To
Oh
that
yeah.
one. And I'm excited to see them because they were one of the two top symphonic metal bands that I want to go see. Dimmu Borgir being the other one.
Have you ever seen them? Or is this gonna be the first time?
This will be my first time.
Nice,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm super stoked.
Because
about
they
it. My
came.
wife is going.
Okay.
Yeah, so I get to drag her to a metal show.
Because they came like, what was it, like 2 years ago? It wasn't here, but it was Salt Lake. It was like Cradle of
yes.
Filth and Devil Driver.
I remember that. Yep. So I'm going to that one. I just found out the Magic Sword. Do you know who Magic Sword
Yeah.
is?
Local boys.
Yeah, they're
Done
playing
good.
May 10th at the Shrine Social Club at 1118 West Idaho Street, and those guys throw down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of theirs. I found out about them through a Thor Ragnarok commercial, and I looked them up and became a huge fan.
Because they were on the soundtrack.
And the commercial.
The commercial, yeah.
The Disney made the commercial for the movie before it came out,
Uh-huh.
and it featured that song.
Okay, like in the official trailer.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
which-
they're showing him getting chased, right? They're
Mhm.
showing him getting in the very beginning where he's fighting Surtur or running from Surtur, and he six of the beasts on him, and he's running and waiting for Heimdall to port him out, right? And that's when the song's playing.
And
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was in the trailer.
that is the best Thor movie there was.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a good one.
Yep. Did you see we missed Yellow Wolf? It was the other night.
No
Mm.
way, I didn't even hear you.
Yeah, dude, and I couldn't make it at the time, but I would have loved. Cody, you like Yellow Wolf?
Yeah,
You ever listen to him?
Absolutely.
I love his style, dude. I love his speed rap.
Yeah.
That's one of the few kind of raps that I could get on board with, like Tech Nine, for instance, right? Where it's like a craft, right? They're not talking about gang banging and silly stuff and whatever, running pimping. That's not what they're doing. They're speed rapping about life, and I love it, dude. It's extreme talent to me, at
Well,
least.
when it gets into the country rap mixes, I'm just like, but like he got some really solid beats.
And he spits fast.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, you talk about speed. I mean, like, you got to go back to, you got to give your props to people like Twista.
Or Busta Rhymes,
right?
For sure. Old school.
Yeah,
old
absolutely.
School
Well, and Twista's coming here with to talk about more upcoming shows.
Yep.
With fucking Too Short.
Yep.
Here to talk about like an OG.
Talk about OG
right?
Too Short right there. Yep.
Yeah, Cocktail Dreams, baby.
This month is crazy busy. There's so much going on right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
ton of good music coming out always. Cody, do you have any shows coming up? You guys doing anything? You recording?
Yeah.
What's your band doing right now?
So with Divinium, we are, because that's what I'm going to talk about. The other bands in the embryonic state, so it ain't doing shit. But so we're getting settled into the new spot. Getting settled in with a new drummer, and we have a show coming up. I believe June 21st is a Saturday at Mad Swede downtown. So it's the Mad Swede
there last night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Mad Swede Brewery, but it's not the actual brewery that's up on Cole Road. It's it's just their like satellite location, their sister location, which is their they call it like their brew hall, which is just right downtown, right next to like 10 Barrel Brewing and everything else. Which will be interesting because like I've performed there as a comic a handful of times.
Parking is going to suck though.
Yeah. Well, just you got to grab a fucking garage and whatever.
Just cart your stuff in.
Yep.
Garages are the easiest way. If you're ever downtown Boise doing a show or any monkey business,
dude,
just
they're nice.
Just do a garage.
Oh yeah, and they all have cameras and shit. So it's like if you God forbid you don't have to bug 5 different businesses to be like, hey, do you have an angle of my car when someone took a shit on the roof? It was acidic. It went through. Looking for a xenomorph.
I didn't know you had a Tesla.
Speaking of that, dude, you guys watching the new trailers for all the Badlands and the aliens and all that?
No, haven't yet.
They look great, dude. Looks like it's going to be a good time.
Okay,
I'm excited for
Badlands. Talking about the new Predator movie.
So Predator Badlands is the movie, right? It's featuring young Yautja. He's trying to prove to his clan that he's worthy, so he's got to go on a hunt. He meets a Wayland Yutani robot. Emma something plays it. Anyway, so they're tying, obviously, Alien and Predator again, and then we got Alien Earth, a TV show coming out.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
No, that one's going to be a TV show. I think summertime.
Really?
Summertime should be out.
Like a new Trimmers. Like the entertainment industry is gearing up. Right?
Yeah, it is. New Trimmers coming out. TV show with Kevin Bacon.
No shit.
That's going to be out in August, so a couple months away.
Dude, I've got the first. I've got the first 3. I want to say 3, at least 2.
I think that's
on
all you
VHS
can get.
still.
The rest of them are on like streaming.
Yeah.
Jess and I found them the other day. There's like 11.
One of the coolest, so I am a pawn shop, thrift store.
Oh yeah,
whore, right?
Same.
And sometimes now they get older, man. I gotta be like, I don't need that, and I leave shit. But I'm like, it's cool to see whatever. But First National Pawn, they're like, hey, DVDs are 50 cents now. Like whatever, just get rid of them.
Yep.
I was there, let's say recently, probably 3 years ago. But I found the Tremors Collection DVD that had the first 4. Like the 4th one's like the time travel one, where it's like Bert's, like they're doing like the Chinese railroad and whatever. But I found that along with a DVD collection of the first 3 or 4 Crusty Demons of Dirt.
Oh,
remember the old Crusty Demons of Dirt? Dude, that's how I originally heard of Sepultura when I was a little kid, and my dad had Crusty Demons of Dirt on VHS.
Skateboarding videos, motorcycle videos, and surf videos, and all the wild sports when we're 80s, 90s kids.
Yeah.
All those had the greatest soundtracks.
Absolutely.
Because they weren't playing, Billie Eilish or Madonna or anything, right? It's an extreme thing. They're playing Slayer. They're playing Megadeth. They're playing all our type of music.
And a lot of them, they would get a licensing agreement with one record label. Mm-hmm. And then a record label would then be like, okay.
We got these bands.
Yeah, exactly. So it was more like a showcase for them. Mm-hmm. And so you got lesser known, quote unquote, bands. So my uncle's, I say uncle, we'll call him my uncle. It's a long story. But Flight of Void was pretty much my uncle, Nate, R.I.P. That was his band that blew the fuck up here in Boise in the early 2000s, right?
Yep, I remember.
And they had one of their songs on, it was called Brap 2, Volume 2 or something, and it was a snowmobile video. So the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. But that's how they got quite a bit of
interest.
Yeah, interest and exposure was through stuff like that when it's like, who would have thought, So
Excellent stuff.
yeah,
Well, dude, let's get into comedy here.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into comedy. You love comedy.
We know you did comedy for a while. Are you still pursuing that?
He is. He's
No.
told jokes all day.
Yeah. Other
He's
than,
been here cracking them.
Yeah, other than stepping on the scale. So comedy was something that I got into as far as actual stand up. It was 2012, and buddy of mine was Jeff Isaacs was a comic and bartender at Solid when it used to be Solid and Liquid. And I remember him telling me about this new contest they were going to do, and it was the first year. It was called Boise's Funniest Person.
I remember that.
And he was like, dude, he's like, you're always cracking me up. Why don't you go try it? And I was like, I don't know. Maybe. Okay. He's like, tell you what. He's like, there's a Wednesday open mic. He's like, come and just, write some shit. Write 2 minutes of material. Come try it. So I did. And I loved it, man. I didn't have any sort of anxiety, but it was also I was 22 years old. So I'm just hammered as fuck because I used to drink a lot. And so out of all that, I got into that Boise's Funniest Person contest, and I ended up being a finalist in that first year, and so it really helped a lot with just my just confidence, right? Of you don't need to cater to an audience, do your own shit, and the audience will find you, right? Same thing with music. The same thing with anything. Just fucking be yourself, do your own thing. It's for your own entertainment first and foremost, right? Should be.
Should be a self-fulfilling thing, not something
Absolutely.
you're doing for the crowd or
Absolutely.
for anybody else.
You should be pursuing what you're passionate about, and that's where greatness comes from. It's not like when you're trying to make something for someone else, you're probably not going to get your best work. When you're making something that's you're passionate about, that's where you're going to come up with the best work. And it doesn't really matter what. That's kind of in all things.
You got to do something that gets you going, right? Otherwise, why? Unless it's for a fucking paycheck or some other motivation. But yeah, man. So I did comedy, and then I gave it an earnest shot where I was getting on every paying gig, non-paying gig, open mic that I could from 2012 to 2014, 2015. So 2 or 3 years. And what had happened was, so I used to homebrew. When I turned 21, I used to fucking hate beer, man. Late teens and stuff, I was Cody the Roadie. And I was a guitar tech, and I would just go along with these bands. And there was a band called Criterium that the bass player was my best friend, and I was Cody the Roadie, man. I went to every fucking show, went on tours with them. And we would, snort anything in front of us, drink anything in front of us, but I fucking hated beer. And when I turned about 21, my uncles had started homebrewing. And so they're more like big brothers to me and 2 of my favorite people on this planet. And so I'm kind of well, what are you doing? Wanting to hang out with them in the garage. And so slowly but surely started, okay, I'll go clean that. I'll go do this. I'll help out. I was just a gopher boy. And I eventually developed this palate and I developed this passion. And so I was trying every fucking which way I could to get a job in a brewery. Well, eventually I landed assistant brewer job at the Ram down by BSU, and this would have been 2024. And so, that right?
No,
yeah.
It can't be 2024. That would have been a year
2014.
ago. And you've been a brewer
Jesus
for
Christ.
a long time.
Yeah, 2014.
Yes, sir.
And so that job, we started at 4 in the morning, and it was a 11-hour shift.
Got to get the yeast in, right?
And well, it was just everything. What it actually was that the head brewer was a major alcoholic that had a newborn, and so he's like, as soon as the sooner I clock off, the sooner I go be back with my family. And so he's like, what's the? He asked the general manager, what's the earliest I can clock on? They're like, well, 4 a.m. is when the cleaning crew comes and vacuums the fucking the place up. So I was like, all right. So he just told me, he's like, all right, young buck. He's like, we're starting at 4 a.m. So because I was starting, and this isn't just a job. I was, all right, you got to start learning fucking science, motherfucker, from the ground up. And so I took it very seriously. And so there was no way that I was going to go and do an open mic or even a paid gig or whatever, where I'm getting on stage and I've got to be on. I've got to be charming. I've got to be, I can't half-ass your stage presence. And it's 11 p.m. I can't go and do that shit and then wake up at 3 to go actually be focused on some science.
That's
So
really
no, don't worry.
yeah, so comedy, my hobby, took a backseat to my career. So that's kind of what happened.
Well, we knew you did comedy, so that was one of the subjects we wanted to come up with. And Chad actually challenged me to tell a joke.
Well, I was going to challenge both of you fuckers and say, okay, I want you both. Well, we all will. Come up with a joke. Say a joke. It could be one you know. I don't really give a fuck.
Well,
give us a good joke.
But he's a guest. Let's let him go last. What do you got?
Yeah. Okay. Why did the chicken join the band?
I don't know why.
Because he had drumsticks, dude.
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to keep it child friendly.
All right. Yeah. No.
You do.
We're going
joke,
street jokes. All right.
You go
all right.
any joke you want. I don't care what the content is. You go as dark as you want.
Sure.
You go as deep as you want.
Child friendly. All right.
Right. Yeah. Burn that one.
Is that all you got?
No.
What you got?
No. Why did the mirror join therapy? Well, he's tired of reflecting others' insecurities and issues. What else does a mirror see other than that and vanity?
All right.
Right?
All right.
I mean, and it's not good, right? It's been getting more prevalent of, people's insecurities. We've really seen
that
it
was
throughout.
A clever one. Did you make this one up, or did you?
That's correct. I made this up.
All right, cool.
People are really getting insecure about stuff. I think that's why we have a real, I don't know, like the trans movement. We got that coming out. And these people want to be heard. It doesn't really make sense to me because nobody really cares. Nobody really cares what you want to do, who you want to be. At least that I know, right? None of us. We don't care what you want to do with your life. It's just, are you a good person? That's all I care about.
Yeah. Well, if you're an adult, do you.
Yeah, do you. Nobody cares. And it should be that way.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. Yeah. I would just voice to that I think that the reason why a lot of people will push the narrative on that and to be heard more is simply because, as we see, there are a lot of people who want to just simply call it a mental illness. And there are a lot of people who want to see it as, that's not who you really are. There's something else going on with you. And be that as it may, in my personal opinion, I think that there are a lot of people who maybe they find this, it's tribalism, man. Like maybe they see it as, hey, here's a quick pathway to acceptance. Maybe they're dealing with their own sexuality. Maybe they're gay. Maybe they're bisexual. Maybe they don't know.
Maybe they don't fucking know.
And that's fine. Like,
should be fine.
You don't have to know what you are at all times, and that can change. But I would like to just simply say that I definitely am trying to better understand. I'm not a trans person, but I try to understand and empathize with what they're going through. I'm never going to go through that, but that doesn't mean to me that they don't have a right to their own experience.
Yeah, exactly. Live and let live, right?
Yep.
Well,
especially when they're not affecting you.
Yeah, exactly. Because none of that, for the most part, surface level, shouldn't be affecting anybody else.
It really shouldn't.
Yep.
No, it shouldn't bleed into anybody else's lives. And when it does, and as it is now, is what makes it so strange, right? Is that, I think the putting it in schools and the stuff like this for the young kids to try to understand seems silly to me, or trying to make all the movies about it and the TV shows about it, about trans and gay and lesbian, and just the pushing of it seems silly to me. I mean, to me, I would think you wouldn't want it brought up. You just want to be left in peace. It just reminds me of like gays in the 80s. Yeah, I know you guys remember it. It was
I watched the entire movement, and they won their rights, and they were able to marry,
and they just wanted to be quiet about it.
It's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah, and they were just quiet about it. It wasn't a flaunting or a you have to accept it or anything. And it's kind of strange to see the movement now.
It's really a hard one. Like, I kind of toe the line of, because I understand the viewpoint of, hey, I don't want to see this in schools, everything else. I can understand that. I think that it's something like, so I'm not a parent yet, but I have it in my head, and this could change. This is just me speculating, but I would think that if I had a child that came out as a trans person to me, I would say, okay, that's fine. I will support you. But as far as any sort of hormone therapy or any sort of a change of permanence, I don't think that I would support that until they were an adult.
Mhm.
Because
I think that's the
and
thing
that's
about
such a fucking man. We're talking about a real
it. It is
hard
in-depth.
to thread issue. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
of course. I
It's
think that's the right answer,
Yeah.
though. Is once you're a young adult, it's really not a thing for a child's mind to comprehend or have to think about,
Sure.
unless naturally, which there is the case, right? We just know it because it used to exist as well. There will be that rarity where the child actually just does think about it, and they're like, "Well, I'm not a guy, I'm whatever."
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a family member and two of my closest friends that are trans people, and I'll just say it like I have one of those people. I don't necessarily believe that that's their, but that's also not my like right to say. But I just think that they're going through some shit. I don't know, but like that again, that's not my right. You know what I mean? But the other two people in my life, I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely who you are. I totally get it, and it is a. They just seem so much more like just happy and like fucking authentic. But they also aren't the kind of people that are. They don't make it their entire personality, right? It's not the only thing that defines them, which I think.
And that's not everyone.
But that's also, I mean, we're talking about, and this is always going to be an individual case by case basis. We're talking about individuals. We're talking about specific humans.
Mhm.
So, like just like anything else you would talk about, any other topic, it's going to vary case by case.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yep.
So-
It's situation by situation.
So to
Yeah.
get us out of this conversational hole, which is a very complex issue.
absolutely.
The
Sorry,
be-
I'm just a
the-
little bit
the be-
passionate
No,
about
no. The best way that I've heard it put is it's no one's business how an adult should consensually love another adult, right?
Agreed.
And it's as simple as that, all right? It's no one's business how two people love each other,
Yeah.
And I mean, how easy is that, right?
Absolutely, it should be.
So, since we're still on
Comedy.
jokes, since we're still on comedy, did you have any more?
Well, I gave you
comedies?
two. What do you mean? It's you guys' turn.
I got two whole
You haven't told
pages to
nothing.
throw at you.
Two
so-
pages. No,
Yeah,
8 jokes.
I got two whole.
No,
pages
I
of
didn't
jokes.
ask you for 10 pages of jokes.
No, I went.
I said
hard
come
to
up
hard.
with a joke. Your best joke.
All right, fuck you. Here you go. All right, you ready?
Let's hear it.
All right, here's joke number one, written by David Draper, and I promise I didn't plagiarize. And if it is some other person's joke, well, guess what? I thought of it too. Okay.
Parallel thinking.
Yes. Your mama's so fat, the oil companies are bidding on who gets to harvest the oil.
There you go. I like the. There's a King of the Hill episode when Hank has to go to driver's school, and he takes a. It's called defensive driving. It's like Def Jam, and it's Chris Rock's a guest star. Yada yada. He plays a comic named Budasak who's got to go and he's the teacher for the driving school. Well, eventually they start tiffing, and Budasak does like a your mama joke to Hank, and Hank's retort is, "Yeah, well, your mother's so ugly it affects her self-esteem." Still one of the greatest jokes of all time.
Quality. Thank you, Mike Judge.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right, ready for another one?
I guess so.
I
If
got
you
more to throw at you.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
guess.
All right, your mom is so fat, the Astrological Society is considering your mom big enough to the class as a planetary body.
Not a moon, huh? She's bigger than a moon. Going straight to celestial body.
That's right.
Okay, then.
All right, that bomb. All right, one more. Your mom. All right, your mom is so fat, Godzilla challenged her to a battle.
Okay. Not Mothra. Take on the mini boss first. Well, let's give Cody
Beyond
a go
King
here.
Caesar, beyond Ghidorah, beyond
Yup.
Gigan,
we go straight to Godzilla.
Straight to
Perfect.
Godzilla. Yep.
the man himself. All right. Well, shit, dude. I don't know. One of my favorite street jokes ever was always the what's the difference between a baby and a bag of cocaine? Eric Clapton wouldn't let a bag of cocaine fall out of a window.
Bet.
Man, there's so many bad jokes. What else you got? Throw more at me, Chad.
Well, I don't really have many more jokes, but kind of a thing about comedy. Did you guys see that Jamaica actually has a bobsled team now?
Yeah.
Really?
They do.
Oh,
They do.
Shit, I did not.
Jamaica
catch
has
that.
a legit bobsled team,
Badass.
which was a John Candy movie
Yeah, cool running.
back in the
Yeah.
day. Cool runnings. The Lucky Egg.
Good movie.
Yeah, I love that
Exactly.
movie.
They're in the tub doing the, doing the practice.
Practicing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well, you got any more on comedy?
Let me see.
What do you want to talk about on comedy?
Your daddy's so stanky, the military is considering dropping him off in enemy territory as weapon deployment.
Okay.
Perfect. Just the unfettered mind,
Hey,
folks.
I couldn't pick on the mom the entire time.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the dad, right?
Okay.
He's all that bastard. All right, yeah.
Hey, they're both dicks.
All right. That's good enough for that one.
All right, well, let's get out of comedy then, unless, Cody, you got more you want to talk about on comedy.
I'm good, man.
Let's jump into video games. Cody, I know you have a huge console collection. You've been collecting for a while.
Yeah, I'm probably autistic. I should probably get on the fucking RFK list.
No, it's okay.
You know,
the vaccines did their job, right? Okay, now you're specialized.
Yeah, exactly.
You specialized in video game systems.
Weaponized.
Tell us about these video game systems. What are you collecting? Why are you collecting?
Shit. All
How
right.
long you been doing it?
Well, it's gonna get really depressing. It's all about nostalgia because we can't like relive back when times were fine.
Pizza Hut's changed.
Yeah.
Doritos got a new
I
label.
want the fucking red cup. God damn it.
Yeah.
Where's
The
my
Oh,
chandelier.
salad bar.
Where's my
That salad
blockbuster?
bar
Oh.
in the arcade, dude. You remember the arcade games you could sit down at?
Oh yeah.
Loved it. And they'd bring out the personal pan pizzas to you when you read books.
You'd have your
God,
big ass like Neo Geo machine.
You know it, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
I love
The MVS4. I actually owned one of those at one point. So that's okay. You want to talk about video game collecting? That's where it got to be a fucking problem, and I need to have like an intervention.
Mm.
But I spent all my money on like collecting like actual arcade machines and pinball machines, and this was on like I wasn't doing the line of work that I do now. This was on like barely above minimum wage here. Like I'd be like, yeah, I don't need to pay rent. Fuck it, So yeah,
I'm getting a Zelda pinball.
Yeah.
Jeez, I wish there was a Zelda pinball.
I want the Shadow pinball.
The Shadow?
The Shadow.
Like
I've seen it, like the movie The Shadow with
based on like the radio
Alec-
play from like the fucking
with
30s.
Alec Baldwin.
Baldwin, yes, sir.
Yep.
I didn't know they made such a thing.
Oh
That's
my
cool.
god, it's like the best movie ever. It's like one of the original good superhero movies.
Yeah. Well, it's probably based on the teleplay.
Mhm,
Back,
yeah.
So
I
that's
actually have
cool.
the record with some of the original The
No shit.
Shadow teleplay in my collection over there. I found
Okay.
that, and I was like, oh, yeah, I get that.
Reminds me of the Phantom, dude. Just old school.
Old
Right.
school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Okay, let's get back into your consoles, dude. What are you
Okay.
collecting? Do you just take everything? All Nintendo,
No.
Atari,
No.
any PlayStation?
Absolutely.
What are you doing? What are you collecting? The game wise?
Yeah.
Just
So
nostalgic?
mostly, yeah.
Okay.
So like I've got,
Mega Man.
well, of course, but like so for consoles like NES, Super Nintendo, 64, we have a Switch, which is the newest shit that I own. But PS1 and Sega Genesis are probably the most like where I'm nearing some sort of level of completionism for the actual like game lists. But yeah, so PS1, PS2s. So what I really started getting into was a couple of years ago was buying duplicates of things, simply because. And it all started with the fact that, like, gun to my head, if I could only have one console, it would probably be a PS2, simply because backwards compatibility with PS1, so that opens up that library.
It was a great console.
But then it just you had things of any different genre had stuff that I still think, and this could just be because it was cool when I was in high school, but those games still hold up. Like, okay, I want to play a racing game. You give a kid nowadays Gran Turismo 2 or something, they might be like, oh, this is kind of old, but they're not going to be like, holy shit, this is ColecoVision bad.
I love Gran
You know?
Turismo. Yeah.
Or like RPGs, okay, cool. We've got, the Final Fantasy 11, 12, X, all those different ones. But to get back on topic there, pretty much I just collect anything from like NES to about PS2.
Okay.
I skipped like the 360, PS3, PS4, all that kind of stuff.
Xbox.
It's not for me. Original Xbox I have.
That's cool. That was
Yeah.
a cool system. I like how it played music on it.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
And you could save. And there was a bunch of different games where you could import your own songs into the soundtrack.
Sure could. Yes, sir.
There
Grand
was
Theft
like,
Auto.
yep. And there was like Amped was a like Cool Border style
that game was
snowboarding
awesome.
game.
Yeah.
And you could be like, okay, cool. I want to put on like this song by so and so, and you just put the fucking CD in there.
Mhm.
And there were wrestling games, which is the cool. So Xbox had WWF Raw and WWF Raw 2, and they both were kind of pieces of shit. But the cool part was that you could create a wrestler, and then import your own fucking entrance music. How cool is that? You know, you can make yourself and be like, cool, I want to come out to Cypress Hill. I want to come out to Slayer. I want to, whatever.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, right? That's
Yeah.
sick.
I don't think they do that even now with like the 2K series.
Why not?
I don't think that you can
Why
import
not?
entrance music.
PS4 Pro does. On a PS4 Pro, if you're playing like, let's say Fortnite or Grand Theft Auto,
Mhm.
where you're in a vehicle, you can import the songs you want from
Sure.
your save list where you want.
Well, I'm just saying, like wrestling games specifically.
Right.
Like,
I don't know
I
about
think
the
that
wrestling
was the
game.
only like time you could actually do that, which is kind of bizarre, but whatever. Probably licensing rights because they're like, oh, we could maybe get hit with some sort of weird, thing. But who knows?
All right. So, as a video game collector, what do you think is your most valuable piece of collection?
Swag.
Oh, I got rid of a bunch of that stuff recently just because of bills, in life. But
You got to have a gem in the rough.
yeah, I do. I have some shit that I'll probably never get rid of, right? So I've got like the Streets of Rage series
We loved it.
was amazing,
Yeah, it was.
and that was such a piece of my life. So, I was born in '89, and my brother was 4 years older than me. So he was born in '85, and so, man, every Monday night we were flipping the channels back between WCW Nitro and WWF Raw is War, and we had a Sega Genesis, and then we eventually got a PlayStation 1. But with that Sega Genesis, we had Streets of Rage 2 and 1. I think we rented 3, never owned it. But I've got that trilogy, right? And a lot of the cartridge-based games that I grew up with and the PS1 discs, I bought, let's say 10 years ago now, 15 years ago. And this is back in days where you could go to like Vista Pawn and they weren't looking stuff up. There wasn't pricecharting.com. There wasn't this huge retro gaming boom where everything is now. Like my collection probably quintupled in value just based on the fact that I bought it most of it so many years ago.
Right.
But it used to be the days where you'd go to a pawn shop and they just had like an old bookshelf of games. They weren't even like organized. And they'd just be like, yeah, they're $1, they're $2, whatever. Because they'd have a guy come in trying to pawn all the shit off and they'd be like, all right, tweaker, well, we'll give you $20 for your bicycle and this box of stuff you brought. They didn't even look it up. They were just like, $20? They were like, sold.
Yeah, like, we could probably make money.
Exactly. And so I was just lucky enough to bought most of my collection during that kind of a time when a dude with a, around minimum wage job could actually collect something.
I like what you were talking about buying duplicates, dude. I was literally just thinking about this. I wish when I was a child and I started buying games that I had bought duplicates. One to play, one to leave packaged up. Not to be seen again and maybe get somebody to sign
smart, it. Like we would have had a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, buy duplicates if you're gonna do it. But we're so phasing out of having a physical game.
Media.
Yeah, it's all online
It
now.
won't be a thing anymore.
Nope, it's not.
Well, and eventually, they're talking about how with digital stuff, it's like you don't own the rights to own it. You're essentially renting it until that leasing agreement goes away. So that's why, dude, I've got some sort of an issue because I collect shit like none other. And I have to go through some times and really get rid of stuff to just make room. But, because I remember going through, my VHS collection, and, my buddy, who he used to have a job where he would help people organize and just get rid of stuff. And he's looking at throw all my shit to help me, and he's like, dude, when are you going to watch Sister Act 2 on VHS again? And I'm like, all right, put it in the donate pile. Well, that's the whole thing, man. It's like, I've got so much physical media, then people will say, like, oh, well, that's on HBO Max, that's on Netflix, that's on whatever. Yeah, until the licensing agreement goes away and they don't renew it.
Yeah, then
and then how do you have it?
Or the Earth gets hit by a gigantic magnetic pulse, and then all the power grid goes down, and then all you have left is there's no more streaming services.
Yeah,
all you have is what you have in your place, right?
Yeah, and then goddamn it, I can at least read the episode lists of my Simpsons collection,
right?
And remember,
dude, I miss VHS. I had the biggest VHS collection. I really started it when I was young. DVDs were coming out, but the VHSs were so cheap.
Yeah.
And they were awesome, right? It was fun to watch a VHS.
Oh, yeah.
I really missed doing it, but I hawked off all mine to Hastings before they shut down and stopped buying movies, and I traded it for a PS3. So I'm not really too mad about it because I still have that PS3 and my PS1.
When Hastings was shutting down, I brought a box of hardcore porno in there, right? And I was like, hey, will you guys buy this? Because they had some softcore. They had Girls Gone Wild and all this different stuff in there. So I thought, my 20-year-old brain, I'm like, oh, they'll buy all this, And the guy kind of just looks at me looks at the collection, and it's like, I mean, we're talking like hardcore, like bukkake and all this different stuff. And the guy's like, yeah, dude, no, like there's not.
He's like 19 and only in Garden City.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
like,
that's hilarious.
Wrong video store.
yeah. So I had to like, like this like overwhelming like shame and shot, like take it and put it back into my little like Toyota car and drive away. You know, listening to Deicide, fucking like oh yeah, Janet Jameson's greatest hits. You know.
Well, talking about dirty movies, let's talk about movies. We talked to you earlier, and we decided to do a review on Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
1987 with Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella, Meg Foster, which was probably
Evelyn.
her hottest part
Yep.
she's ever played.
Who did you try to tell me that was? And I was like, no, dude, it's Meg Foster. And you're like, no.
I thought it was. Let me think of it. I can't think of it right now. Anyways, but yeah, Masters of the Universe. So what do you?
Hey, who played Gwildor?
Gwildor? Oh, I got.
You know him.
I got Billy.
Damn right.
Yeah, Billy Bertley. Yeah. Gwildor. And anyways, so let's have Cody tell us what you thought about that movie.
You know, it was a great advertisement for that pawn shop where they found that thing.
I should have busted out my
The
VHS.
music box.
Yeah.
I actually have it on VHS.
Oh, do you?
I do.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been collecting some VHSs for a while now.
Shit, I'm surprised you don't have it as a poster up here, dude.
Well,
He hated the movie.
Yeah.
He hated it. He thought it was despicable because David's a little bit older than us, right?
Right.
He's just like one notch back. So He-Man was like one of the few cartoons that was on when he was a kid
Mhm.
that was
Bro.
like for all boys. Any boy alive at that time
was watching all the
was
cartoons.
watching every single He-Man that was on.
Okay,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and I had all the toys, every freaking one, every single one. I swear to God, like that was like the thing. And so
Not
When-
only did he grow up with it,
when the
but
movie
then they
came-
changed it.
When the movie came out, and don't get me wrong, it has its fun points, but like I was like, this is not He-Man. What is
Yeah,
this?
not what you're expecting. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not Adam, right?
Who's this Gwildor dude? Like I've never seen him in a cartoon.
Right. Why are there
Yeah.
UN soldiers in like in this state park?
Where's
what the
Adam?
fuck?
You know, why does Man at Arms look like a freaking like an old dude that like
Yeah, he looks like a plumber.
yeah
Right, Mario?
yeah
Exactly.
and so yeah, so I mean, it is a cult classic now, but as a He-Man fan from a childhood, it did not do it justice.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, change the name, change a couple character names, and it probably would have been one of your favorite, just simple Frank Frazetta inspired adventure films.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you took away that name.
You know what's great about it? It featured the first in-credit scene with Skeletor coming out of the goo.
Oh,
You guys remember that?
Did it?
As you roll
No.
credits, right? It's one of the very first. I mean, it might have been the very first. You're rolling credits. It's showing names,
And it came up at the end.
given accolades, and then you see Skeletor come out of that pink goo that he just fell in. I'll
Yeah.
be back, He-Man.
Which I can't believe all movies don't do that.
I'm surprised all movies don't too, and
Yeah.
nobody did it for a long
What,
time after that.
feature Skeletor? Me too.
Yeah.
Full House with Skeletor.
Right?
Guess what?
Uh,
He's fucking Uncle Jesse.
yeah, if I ever get into making movies, everyone's going to have like a
In-credit scene.
in credit scene.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah, Marvel was not the first.
Right.
Okay, Masters of the Universe was one of the first.
It was one of Courtney Cox's.
Oh, yeah,
first
premiere
movies.
roles.
Oh man, she
Oh, yeah.
she was hot back then, and she
Yeah,
was
man.
hot for a long time. But
Well, and the cool thing about that movie was it was one of the it was a Canon film, right? So the production company Canon, and like that company had so much cool. You know, some people would at the time considered it schlocky or like B-rate. You know, it was the they were always the Domino's to the Pizza Hut, right? Versus TriStar or
MGM.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
But they're kicking out bangers like RoboCop.
And so like what was it like Cobra? Was a
great movie.
Canon.
Stallone.
What was the one that Lou Ferrigno played? Hercules, and it was like Hercules in space or some shit. Like
I
Hercules.
think I
on the
remember
moon.
what you're talking about. Yeah,
But
yeah, they were
Canon-
making lots of crazy shit back then.
Yeah. absolutely.
it's
And
cocaine
it all,
days.
and like crazy movies to me really like apexed at like Gremlins 2,
Mm.
the new batch, right?
I
thought you were gonna
love
say
that
Flash.
movie. So
Oh.
good. Yeah,
Gremlins 2 is one of the funniest goddamn movies
it's
of all
on the
time.
list to review.
Hell yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on the list.
Have me back for that one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so We're going to give it a quick review. Story 1 through 10. What do we think? What are we going to agree on? Is this a 1 through 10 on the story?
Yeah, we got to do 1 through 10 because it ranks up to 50. So we're going to do how many out of 50?
A 4 out of 10.
I was going to say a 5 for the story. The story was pretty weak. Like we said, they really just went quick with Skeletor takes the castle, imprisons the sorceress, and then
they did not understand the He-Man story.
They really didn't. I don't think the
They're
people
like
writing it or whoever knew what was going on.
Yeah, they looked at some toys, watched one episode, and were like, we got this.
Yeah, we got it. Exactly. Well, how about you? 1 through 10. What do you got?
Oh shoots! Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give them 5 Castle Grayskulls on this one.
All right.
Right?
Well, we're gonna go 5.
Middle of the road.
Yeah.
All right.
Could have been better.
Now for effects, special effects, got through the entire movie. What do we give this?
Effects are pretty good, dude. The creatures that they bring in, like Beastman, and then they got the the other bounty hunters. They got Gwildor.
Yeah.
Billy Bartley dressed
the
up.
little music thing, which I thought that was
that's
pretty
sick, dude. I would love to have that as a prop up here.
Oh, that'd be
that
cool
would be
shit.
sick.
Yeah, somebody call Peavy.
Yeah, we want it now. And I want the sound.
Yeah. If they won't do it, Yamaha. They have a bidding war.
That's right. Yeah. So I would put the effects on that movie, quite honestly, at a 7 because it was good.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll go with 7. I was going to say 8.
It can't go less than a 6 simply because it's practical effects.
It was practical effects.
It's got to at least be a 6, and that's going to be, we're talking the shittiest, like Troll 2 would get a 6 for me just because I fucking hate how everything is CGI.
Yeah, practical
Old
effects are the
man
best.
yells at clowns,
Let's go practical. I'd say 7 or 8, dude.
So
I'm good with that.
You're a 7 or
Yep.
an 8?
We'll go 8 because it's I just love the fact that it's practical effects.
We're going to agree on it.
It was great effects.
All right, so rewatchability. Do you think it's a rewatchable movie?
I watched it with my kids the other day, and then I watched it with my dad the other day, and we had fun both times we watched it. Just knowing what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing it's not the He-Man cartoon.
It's almost a comedy, man.
It is a comedy now, right? And it's great, and it's old nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Seeing the old stuff.
It's a great movie to watch once or twice and like intently watch it if you haven't seen it. But then beyond that, it's just one of those that you can throw on in the background and do whatever the fuck else, and then I'm going to pay attention for 7 minutes, and then go back to doing the dishes or whatever, right?
Until you hear Strickland cock the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so I would give it a 4 on rewatchability because.
Yep, you hate it. We know. Well aware.
Yeah.
Let's meet in the middle here.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm going 5.
5.
I'll stay with 5.
5
Yep.
it is.
Good enough for me.
Because I could probably go the next 20 years and not watch it, or I could put it on tomorrow in the background and be fine.
I'm watching it on the way home.
All right, so
While you're driving,
it's dangerous, but I will do it.
The overall actor's performance, the entire cast.
Meg Foster killed it. Skeletor killed it.
Dude, both of them.
Okay.
They made that movie.
The bad guys killed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what right now. Every one of them.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I agree with that.
And so, as far as the overall though, like the Robert Duncan McNeil, I don't know if I've seen.
Is that the guy from the Green Mile that cried?
Yeah, probably. And so,
He cried.
yeah, I would say the overall actors, I would give them an 8, just because those 2 actors really carried it.
Well, it doesn't matter. The acting was great.
Yeah,
And that's what we're concerned
those
about.
two.
Was there great? It's just like if we were
I'm
talking
gonna-
about Street Fighter.
Performance. in
It's
general.
like if we were talking about Street Fighter and we said, did Jean-Claude Van Damme do a good coked up job, or did Raul Julia do a fucking amazing job as he
Right.
was dying from cancer?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It'd be like
Okay.
putting his
Billy
eyeballs
Bartley
back in
was-
his sockets.
Right.
Excuse me.
Billy Bartley was on point.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Wildor was sick.
yeah.
Evelyn was sick.
I would give it an 8. What do you think?
I think easily 8.
8 it is. All right.
Yep.
All right.
Consensus.
It's quality, dude.
All right. Soundtrack. What do we give it on the soundtrack?
It was very 80s synth.
It was, but it was also unremarkable. Like
It was
none of
pretty
there
unremarkable.
was. It wasn't like a movie like Rad,
Mm.
right? Where you're like, dude, that soundtrack is stuck in my head and fucking rules.
Love that movie.
I love Rad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Rad.
Dude,
No.
yeah, I would review.
Get your bike.
I would review that one. 100%.
So yeah, 80s synth heavy, of course, right? But there was nothing that like stood out. Like I'm not gonna go and look on Spotify and see if the original motion picture soundtrack is available for me to listen to.
Oh, David's got it.
Does he?
All right. So what? 1 out of 10. What do you?
Yeah,
give it?
4.
4.
Sure. Yeah, 3, 4.
I'll give it a 4. So we'll settle at a 4 on that
Good
one.
enough.
Okay. Quotability. Does it have quotable?
Oh, yeah. I was going to share.
you know?
Share.
Right.
If you quoted it to a friend, would they recognize it?
Oh, yeah.
You know. I don't know. Even the "I have the power" lacked luster. It was weak. Come on, Dolph. Like, have you never watched He-Man? You got to give
I
it
probably
all.
didn't.
Like I could give it all. I have the power better than that. I'm not going to do it. Okay.
Do it. Prove it, pervert. Show him.
I don't want to
Yeah, take your
scare
pants
anyone
off.
with the power
Show him the
of-
beef.
the power of my voice. So for me, the quotability is like 2. All right,
Okay, write down a 2 then.
2 for you.
Yeah, I don't really remember much of the dialogue specifically.
Not even Skeletor's quotes, even though he was a great actor. None of the things he said were quite honestly like something you could just repeat.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't do like they did in the cartoon, right? And like a lot of the memes are.
Oh, sure.
They really didn't portray Skeletor as that in this movie. He was the super serious, driven, dedicated, evil.
What's our favorite Skeletor quote from the cartoon Skeletor? I know you know it.
I don't like to feel good. I like to feel evil.
100%. Yeah, like it doesn't get any better in that.
Yeah, and they didn't use that. They really just kind of gave him like poetry to read.
Right.
It seemed like they give him poetry lines, especially like at the end where he's getting ready to absorb the power and he's talking to the crowd, right? He's like, this is what you've become, nothing, and just going on spewing poetry.
Yeah.
So,
And he's pretty monochromatic as far as the character in that film. There's not a lot of meat on the bone.
All right. Well, now we got all of our scores here.
okay, count it up, do the math.
We're gonna add it up right back after this commercial break.
Hey, wait a minute. You two look kind of familiar. Ain't you them kids that have been whacking off in my tool shed?
Welcome back. David had to poop, so we took a little break.
That was called a commercial break.
I call it a number 2 break.
Who was the sponsor?
Deuces.
Taco Bell.
Oh, shit. You got Taco Bell money?
Got a Bob Yast with
I
it.
blew the toilet out. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, we're still on movies. I want to talk about a great movie. I know we just did our review. This is another great movie
We
from
haven't
back in the
finished that
day.
review quite yet.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Let's tell them
Yeah.
the numbers.
All right.
Give
so
up them numbers.
Now
What
we're
was
back
it?
from our commercial break.
Okay, count that up real quick.
All right.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, the number comes through.
There it goes.
32.
32 out of 50. That's what the Masters Universe gets.
Okay, so 64%?
Yeah,
Give or take.
Okay.
We'll call it a
Did you just do
66.6.
mathematics? I'm impressed. Yeah, all right. So now on
Yes, I want to talk about another movie from back in the day that was just great. Do you guys remember the movie The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas?
Head like a bear.
Hello there, do I see my father? Dude, I loved that movie. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm currently in the makings of, I got a big bundle of scrap white oak.
Okay.
White oak's great for sword making, boken making. I'm currently making that Allfather sword right now.
Okay.
Excited
Nice.
about it. It'll be a fun one.
Dude, I've only seen that movie once, and it was a long-ass time ago, so it's a vague memory, but I remember it being really good. I
Oh, it's
remember
great.
that point was like in the night, he's looking over all the land, and he sees the fire.
Fireworm.
Yeah, the fireworm.
It's the fireworm.
Yeah. That shit was awesome. What was the fireworm? Was that the
That was
other
bear people.
the people coming?
Yep.
Yeah, with a bunch of torches. But
Yep.
anyways, what an amazing, whoever directed that did such an amazing job.
Yeah,
That was Pauly Shore.
Into the, no way.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's like,
Just kidding.
hey, all right, it's like, no way.
Yeah, in the army now,
It-
and then he did the
it-
13th Warrior.
It really puts you in perspective of the Vikings.
It did. Yep. About the bad omen on their land and the bear people, which they wouldn't even say bear. People wouldn't say bear back in the day. They thought it summoned one, which I mean is real, right? That's not a thing. You know, we make our own reality with the things we think about, talk about.
Right.
So that is a thing. But they were very superstitious back in the day, and they wouldn't say the name.
So they thought it was like a tulpa, like Steve Urkel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He is. He's got good weed now.
Jaleel White
Yeah,
does?
Purple Urkel.
Okay.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
awesome.
You know,
Did I do that?
What? Yeah. That's fucking awesome. I remember he was doing that shit while he was doing the voice for Sonic the Hedgehog. You know?
What else you guys got in movies? You guys check out the new Thunderbolts movie that just came out? You guys Marvel movie guys? I know you are.
I haven't watched the Thunderbolts one.
They say it's good. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm so far behind on the Marvel movies that I've kind of just decided that I'll just watch them all like in one long like fell swoop when I'm like 50.
Good luck.
Just because of the fact that like it's kind of like when you meet those people that say they've never watched the original trilogy or any Star Wars movie. You're like, how the fuck? So
Or
I
Game of
want to.
Thrones.
So I'm being the guy that's never seen anything out of the except for like I guess I saw like the original like 2 Spider-Man movies, but that's about it. So like I'm so far behind that
What, Tobey Maguire back in the day?
Yeah.
I know
exactly.
you watched Blade back in the day too.
That's true.
That's the
okay.
OG
I guess that would be
MCU.
considered.
Have
Yeah.
you seen 2 and 3 as well?
A Blade. Yeah.
Why haven't you?
Yeah.
Of course.
No, of course I have. So okay, so I've seen some of
Don't
those.
make me cue the Blade music.
Yeah, do
But
it.
as far as like the modern like Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's just so daunting that like I don't know where to start.
There's
Like,
a lot of meat to it.
you Google it and they're like, well, if you want to watch it in chronological order, here's how you start it. It's not necessarily release dates.
Yeah, someone who knows. Not all of them are made the same. Some of them, and you don't. Yeah, it's not even worth one watch. Some of them are amazing and just astronomical. It really
The
depends
Doctor
on.
Strange movies are great.
It really depends on the director and the actors, I guess. But yeah,
Okay.
Well, Thunderbolts is out now. They say it's good. It looks decent. It's the not necessarily the screw ups, but kind of the bad boys of the MCU. Kind of the ones that aren't the polished.
Okay. But it's not they're not villainous.
They are not villains. No.
Okay.
no, I haven't seen any previews or anything.
So
like
they
that.
really just like scraping the barrel, trying to get like the B team. Is that where they're at now at this point?
It seems like it because I'm sure the original actors from the phases 1 and 2 probably are tired of doing it. They're like,
Sure.
I'm hanging up the suit, dude. I don't want to get in the latex anymore.
Yeah. Well, and they all have to maintain like 3% body fat and fucking. All
Not
that
only
shit.
that, how many millions have they made from doing those movies now?
Sure.
Because they signed a contract, you got to do 5 to 10,
Right.
1 million per. That's $5 million in 10 years. That's great money.
Yeah.
Even if you live in California, be smart with your cash.
Yeah,
What do you got on movies?
that's it on movies. I'm ready to go on to TV.
No movies. Okay, talk about TV, dude.
All right, cool.
What do you got?
What have you been watching on TV? You got
Oh shit.
any shows you've been digging into here lately?
I'm like neurodivergent, man. I just watch YouTube now. I'm like the weird guy that like, dude. I've been watching. You know, what I've been watching is I've been watching like. So I know it's kind of a thing of like kids watching other kids play video games. Like that's weird. But like I don't do that necessarily, but I watch people play games that I can't play because I don't have. We talk about consoles. Like I don't have PCs, right? So I've been watching like this one dude playing through all these old Sierra PC like. They're almost like choose your own adventure games, but they're like I'm enjoying the story of the game, right? And like so I don't know. I've been watching weird YouTube rabbit holes and stuff like that.
YouTube is really good. They have a lot of content.
Well, yeah.
It's super awesome.
Yeah, it's just ubiquitous. You can find anything of anything now at this point,
And
right?
there's people putting out individual like films and movies and stuff, and just like all
Absolutely.
by themselves. And
Independent films.
Yeah, independent
Hey,
films.
we're doing an independent podcast right here on YouTube. YouTube's really only what we use. We don't do Spotify.
Right.
it
So-
is one of the most American things I think there really is out
YouTube's
there.
great, dude.
Yeah.
I've always loved YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, where else can you like be like, okay, cool. I want to watch a 30-second clip of like this like floating witch that might be a UFO, but then I also want to watch a tutorial on how to unclog a toilet. But
Yeah.
then I also want to watch like the first season of like Howard the Duck fucking animated series.
Loved Howard the Duck, dude. I let
Yeah.
my kids watch that movie. I went and got it on. I found it on DVD, and I let the kids watch it. And at first, like the first couple minutes, they were thinking like, "What is
What
going
is
on?" Because
this?
it's so 80s.
Yeah.
It's like the epitome of the 80s.
Right.
The movie. And my kids were watching it for the first couple minutes, and then they just got into it, right? They just accepted it for what it was.
Mhm.
It's an old classic, because I've showed my kids all classic. Big Trouble in Little China,
Sure.
Willow, all these old great movies.
Flight of the Navigator.
I don't know if I've shown them Flight of the Navigator. That's a good one, though.
Okay.
That's quality. So I'm showing them the movie Howard the Duck, and they're loving it. And by the end, even the goofy CGI with the monster guy at the end, where he like turns into the creature, and
Yeah.
Howard and the scientists are fighting him. The kids just love it now, dude. There's something about classic entertainment. It was just so great.
Absolutely.
It wasn't distracted with other storylines of, you got to involve your phone, or you
Right.
have to involve this social issue, or you have
Sure.
to involve this ideology.
Right.
They just kind of went with the art and did it.
Yeah. Now, the only TV shows I think that I've been watching, like Kara and I, we are suckers for watching Cops, man.
Yeah.
We will throw on, again, back to YouTube. You can find like, hey, this is a 3-hour cut of like
Cop chases.
but it's like specifically like drug busts or like
or
whatever.
Where they pit maneuver you.
Yeah.
My buddy and I were watching pit maneuver videos
Okay.
the other day while we were hanging out, and yeah, it's amazing. Have you watched the On Patrol?
Yes.
On
yes.
Patrol's not bad. It's like the new age cops, right? Where there's like a host, and he's talking to other police officers while they're doing it.
And then there's that show Jail.
Oh yeah, Jail.
Which is fucking hilarious because it'll be like every single episode's like this dumb bitch came in like smoking crack in a Tweety Bird sweater and now we got to put her in a spit mask.
Oh, that's great when they do that, dude. When they got a spit mask and they put him in a corner.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Like, chill out now.
Time out. Yeah,
chill
exactly.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Then they take the mask off. They look at the next person who just walked in. They're like, "What the fuck you want, honky?"
Fight breaks out again. I thought we had this under control, deputy.
Exactly.
No, they do not. Have you guys seen new Judge Dredd TV show? With
Didn't
Carl
even
Urban?
know about it. No shit.
Okay, so you guys remember the latest Judge Dredd movie with Carl Urban?
Yes.
It had the lady who was in the Terminator. I can't remember her name right now.
Linda Hamilton?
No, not Linda Hamilton. The other one. Anyways, she was the bad girl. She was the bad lady. She's selling that spice drug or whatever, where they inhaled it and the time slowed down to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, new Judge Dredd TV show. I believe Carl Urban's coming back for it. And he had that rookie girl. I'm assuming he probably doesn't have that rookie girl anymore that he had in that movie, but I'm excited for that.
Okay.
That's going to be good.
Huh.
Are you a Star Trek guy at all?
Yes and no. So when I was a teen, early teens, my dad would watch Star Trek, but it was mostly like Next Generation and
Enterprise.
then Deep Space Nine. And so I would catch random episodes, right?
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite parts of that time would be we'd watch that shit, and my dad would order a big ass lasagna from Chicago Connection. It's like that's like a core memory for me. But as an
That's sort
adult,
of me and fried chicken. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So as an adult now, I've gone back and watched I haven't watched like, okay, I'm gonna start from this point A to point B, right, and watch it with like the whole series. But I'll watch episodes and be like, wow, it's great how like it can be serialized and have continuity. But some of those episodes, they're just a story in and of themselves. It's a self-contained story.
Standalone story.
Yes.
Yeah, which is nice.
Which is like, so, okay, back in the TV, I am a sucker for Outer Limits and Twilight Zone, right?
Classics.
And just some of the greatest storytelling, right? Some of the greatest writing. And so that's what I've liked about some of the... So I haven't done like the full swan dive into Star Trek, but I've done enough where I'm like, okay, I really like this. But yeah, I haven't yet been like, okay, I'm just going to, marathon this, till the end.
Well, there's a lot there to take in, especially those first three, franchises. The original series, Next Generation, and
Enterprise.
Well, but wasn't the original series...
Deep Space Nine.
Yep. And then it was Voyager, and then Enterprise. But they made like 50 or more episodes per season. Like there's so much. It was crazy the amounts of episodes they made back then.
I did love that movie. What was it, Nemesis?
Oh,
Great movie.
Yeah.
It had Tom Hardy in it back in the day.
Oh, no shit.
Venom. Yep, the guy who plays Venom nowadays.
Yeah.
He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
He just took a tournament. Anyways,
Jiu-Jitsu's awesome.
yep, he was in that. He was Khan.
I'd have to go back and watch it and notice that. That's awesome.
How about Dexter? You ever get into Dexter?
Like Dexter's Lab?
Yeah, love that. Get out of my laboratory.
Yeah.
No.
I love
like
that
the
show.
Dexter where they
Oh, the serial killer show.
Serial killer.
No, I've actually never seen an episode of it, and I think I probably never will because I remember a buddy of mine spoiling essentially the ending, I think. Right? Told me all about John Lithgow. And so I was like, oh, well, then I have no reason to watch it, even though I love John Lithgow. Dude, Harry and the Hendersons? Are you kidding me?
It carried on way past that, though. I mean, and I rewatched all the episodes here lately because, I watched them all once, and there's a lot to take in, right? And so when you rewatch something and you're getting a lot of like little details that you didn't get before, it's nice, And
Sure.
So the second watch of Dexter was great. They came out with some new content, a new season, new blood here recently. freaking killed it. And
They've
then
come out with 2 new things since the original.
they got a brand new actual season coming up here shortly, which I'm ecstatic to watch because I really like the actors. They're top notch.
Okay.
Did you know Harry was the Predator? Same guy.
Oh yeah,
Same
yeah,
guy
yeah. I
played.
did. Yeah, that was in the suit. Yeah.
It's funny that Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original Predator.
Right. Have you seen the footage of him in that like weird
Oh, yeah,
dog
yeah.
thing?
Oh,
And-
yeah. It's weird little creature head
yeah,
suit that he's got on.
yeah. That movie would not have fared as well.
No,
No.
definitely
No.
not.
Definitely not. And Tulsa King with
Oh, Stallone, right?
Stallone, which they've made 2 seasons so far, and they're freaking amazing.
Okay, I've
Stallone
heard
is
of that
killing
one.
it. I'm like, hell yeah, Stallone.
No,
Get some.
the one that we've been watching that I guess there's a new, it might be out now. I need to go home and check. It's on Peacock. It's called Poker Face.
Haven't
You guys seen
it?
that one?
Nope.
It's kind of you know Columbo.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like Columbo. It's this chick that she has, and this doesn't give anything away. It's all presented in the first episode, but she has the ability to know when someone's lying, and it's not a psychic power or supernatural. It's just simply she's really fucking good at reading body language and finding a tell. And so this lady finds herself each episode. She's kind of a vagabond, and she finds herself in different situations that end up needing to be solved. There's some mystery.
Need some truth.
Yeah, there's some
Need
sort of
some
a
truth.
mystery in there, right? But it's a cool little show on Peacock called Poker Face. And there was only one series. I think it was like, or one season, like 10 episodes maybe. But the second season's out sometime this month. So, yeah, that's really probably the only like modern show that I'm keeping up on that's kind of keeping up with the Joneses,
Yeah.
Did you dive into Twisted Metal? I know you played that game as a child.
Of course.
You're a video gamer.
Yeah.
Who hasn't played Twisted Metal?
Yeah, yeah.
And if you haven't, you fucking should.
Where were you?
Anyways,
You
yeah,
just-
where
are you a robot?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you check out the Twisted Metal series?
I did. I started because that was also on Peacock. I
Yes, it
think
was.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and then for some reason I haven't even thought about that. I need to go back and see.
You do. I'd
Okay.
advise going and rewatching it. It's a great series.
Okay, because I
It's
remember
awesome.
the first episode or whatever really didn't catch me at the time, but I should probably go back and check it out. Because it's
I feel the same way.
who's the cat that plays Sweet Tooth? He's a wrestler.
He's a big dude, Kane.
No, it's not Kane. It's I want to say it's like one of the Usos, or it's not Kane. It's one of the Samoan dudes.
Okay.
But yeah, one of the WWE cats plays
Nice.
Sweet Tooth.
Then
I know
Anthony Mackie, the new Captain America,
that. Okay.
plays the hero. And then they have something Rodriguez, not Michelle Rodriguez, the girl from Resident Evil and the
Planet
Fast and the
Terror. And all
Furious.
that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
A different Rodriguez. She plays the kind of love interest
Okay.
of Anthony Mackie in it. Traveling around in the car. They're driving Gabe's car, the Super WRX.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to go back and check that out.
dude, that was such a great game.
Oh yeah, I loved the other day. I popped in Twisted Metal 4 because that was one that had a bunch of like Rob Zombie on it. Well, you could play as Rob Zombie in the Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And
I think
yeah.
they introduced that in 3, wasn't it? 3 had the Dracula because all of them had White
Yeah.
Zombie and Rob Zombie in them.
right.
Every single game, starting at 1. But I think number 3, if I remember right, was where you could get the Dracula, and then 4, and then so on.
Yeah,
I think we're on Twisted Metal Black now, or 5.
right. Who was your main in the Twisted Metal series?
I loved that Dodge Viper. I can't remember his name for some reason, but the Dodge Viper, because he was so
Yep.
quick. If you didn't have a quick guy, it was really hard, because I remember, like, say on number 2, where you had to push Primeval out of the blimp,
Yep.
and, you had to bang him out of that hole. The
Right.
Jeep could do it, but the Jeep was so slow, it gets smashed up. So would Axel, the wheels guy.
Yep.
But the Dodge Viper could do it. You just get behind him, smash him with the missiles, and it'd
Right.
push him out.
And the Dodge Viper cat, that was the dude. He was all dressed in black. He had the shades. He was all, he was very like
He's like a
Agent
Hollywood movie.
Smith kind of.
I thought he was like a movie star.
Yeah,
Right? Seemed like a movie star.
that's right.
And drove around in this pimp ass Viper
That's right.
into the world, and he's like, "All right, well, I got my pimp car. Let's put some missiles on this bitch and get it done."
Yeah, I really liked Warthog.
Yep.
And then what was the name of the cats? The monster truck. It was the 2 like knuckleheads that drove the monster truck from like the first game. It's called like Crusher or some stupid shit.
Yep.
But yeah, man, that was great. And then of course the dude in the undead guy on the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
He was great.
Yep. Just got
And-
cooked because you were on the bike, no armored bike.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
and then
don't wanna
when
get
you
hit.
could when you could unlock. Remember Minion?
Yep. Or
Like the
Sweet
first
Tooth.
game?
Yeah, Minion
Yeah.
was sick, and then Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was good shit.
That's
Well,
great
then you
game.
had all the like with any great series, you're always going to have some sort of a imitation, some sort of a copy,
Mhm.
right? And so the Vigilante 8 series, did you ever play those ones?
I-
With the same vehicular combat.
Oh, yes, I played it earlier. Vigilante. Yes, my brother had it. My brother came up with this game. He was like 2 years younger than me,
Uh-huh.
and he brought it in. We love Twisted Metal, of course, and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He's like, check this game out, dude. And he played the one cop game. Do you remember the one cop game where you could go like pat people down and then you pushed them away and you're going check for drugs and fighting bad guys? And it was almost like Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was called Narc.
Oh, yeah,
Narc
well,
on
of
Xbox.
course. Yeah. Oh, so you're talking about the remake for the original Xbox.
Yep.
That one was fucking awesome.
game was
Yeah. No, that one was great.
Those
And
were a
you
couple
could-
games that my brother showed me.
And you could unlock the original, which was an arcade port,
Mhm.
right? On that Xbox disc, you could actually unlock the original.
Yep, great games.
So I guess the last thing for TV, I guess us and pretty much the world would probably like to know, why was Alf the best TV show on earth?
Oh, because he ate pussy.
Yeah, he did all day. That's all he was doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Alf. The entire series was written in one day by a schizophrenic gentleman at a strip club.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'm stating it right now.
I didn't know that.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Everybody knows that.
All right. So are you a book guy? Do you read books?
Not as much as I should.
Yeah.
But I do.
All right. So what is probably your favorite author or your favorite book that you enjoyed?
As far as like meaning, probably Daniel Quinn is an author. He had a book called Ishmael, and then a subsequent book called Story of B. That more or less is it's a series that kind of just reinstates like, hey, take time to reset your mind. Take time to kind of just like let all the bullshit kind of slough off your back and just remember like what makes you tick, what actually is meaningful to you, who in your life is worth your time. And so it's kind of like a self-help book put into a novel, right? It's not a self-help book. It's not Tony Robbins, but it's
It's
a
an
novel.
inspirational book.
Yeah, more or less. So that's that, and then if anybody who really knows me knows I still dabble in readings of like the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, a lot of like
Ancient,
Hinduism, right?
older books,
It's
older
not
thinking.
it's not my religion, but it's my spirituality, if that makes any sense.
And it's fascinating.
Absolutely.
Ancient mindsets,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
right? And
Okay.
ideals.
You got anything on books, Chad?
Well, I've still been reading the Star Wars book. Most of the way through it, I'm pretty much into 6, episode 6. Right, it's getting close to the climax here. We're almost done, and then I think after that, I'm going to start those Game of Thrones books you gave me.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, they're kind of complicated to read. There's a lot of tricky wording, and so but I'm sure they're enjoyable. They spawned a great TV series, and they talk about a lot of different characters. Because I was digging into some of them, and they kind of go from here to there really quick. So you really, got to develop a picture of what the characters are in your mind really fast. But
Well, it's because you had those older books, the prequels, essentially to
Yeah.
it, right? That's telling more of the story.
Sure.
So if you know the older story, it leads into the newer one, and now
Okay.
you're like, okay, I know who Ned Stark is.
yeah,
So
he's probably writing for
Correct.
people that read his previous books.
Correct,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you're just jumping into what is it, the first one's like the Weird King or something. I don't remember. Something the King is like the first book,
Yeah, I
Becoming
don't
the
remember.
King, or anyways.
So that kind of like if you read, that's like reading the 9/11 Commission report and then also reading the Warren report,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay, that's how it bleeds in. Like JFK's head just did that, okay, and then the Taliban. I get it.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah, it's all about how you read it.
yeah, and you really have to be on top of who's who in those books.
What do you got on books, dude?
Well,
What are you reading?
My friend Steven, who's in the Marines, he recommended this book, and
Oh, dude, 48 Laws of Power. Yeah.
48 Laws of Power, and he says, and he likes philosophy and and mine looks like this, and so do I. And so he recommended this to me. I looked it up on Amazon. It was pretty cheap. I ordered it. I didn't expect to get like a big chunk of a book, but so far it's been very, very enjoyable to read. And I wouldn't say I agreed with all of it. Some of it's very, I would feel like heartless or incompassion. It's just really hardcore business like.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyways, it's still full of good advice. So I picked out one passage that I want to read because I thought it was relevant to really, my mindset right now. And I'm just going to read this out really quick. Let's see. Yeah, all right, here we go. If you are unsure of the course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will affect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected through more audacity. Everyone admires the bold. No one admires the timid. And so I thought that was a cool little passage that I could read on this podcast.
Yeah, what's it mean to you?
Well, it's just if it's better to go forward and make mistakes than to not go forward at all, right? Because you can fix mistakes. I mean, you don't want to make big mistakes that are life changing, but not just basic things in life. Yeah, you're going to fail. You're not going to just get everything right immediately, and anything worth doing is going to take some time to learn.
What I heard is fortune favors the bold and not the timid.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good way to boil it
It's
down.
a way of paraphrasing it.
Cody?
Yeah, man. One of my best friends actually read that book like 5 times while he was in solitary confinement in federal prison. And
Good food.
But you get, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. How can we feed someone for 78 cents a day? Let's figure it out.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, that's enough in books, dude. Let's jump into sports. San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, man.
Since I was a child, I had a San Jose Sharks binder for
Okay.
school, and I draw the shark and the broken hockey stick all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
I also had a Carolina Panthers and a Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not even my favorite football teams. I don't have a favorite football team, but I do like the San Jose Sharks.
Awesome.
I like them and the Ducks, of course, because
Yeah.
of the Mighty Ducks movies,
Yeah.
right? Who didn't?
Yeah.
But anyways, tell us about your love for hockey, NHL. It's NHL season right now.
Yeah. So it's funny because the Anaheim Ducks, right? They're the only sports team that I know of that literally started as like a Disney movie franchise, right? And then like the rights to that were purchased and created an actual team. I think that was a Michael Eisner move when he was the head of Disney. Much like you're talking about the Panthers and the Jaguars. So the reason why, if you look at the Jaguars, they started the same season, I want to say. They're both expansion teams. Well, the Jaguar logo has a teal tongue or like a blue tongue of whatever color, because of the fact that was the color of the Panthers. So they're like, oh, we eat the Panthers. A little bit of a trivia fact there. But so yeah, man, the Sharks. When I was a little kid, there's a picture of Halloween. It had to have been like Halloween '94, maybe. I'm like 5 years old.
I was 9.
I'm Dracula. I'm looking like a short, little, chubby Bela Lugosi. I'm great, right? And right next to my Uncle Rick, and he was dressed up as like a dead hockey player. So he's got like old school like ghoul corpse paint, But he's got the Sharks fucking jersey and hat. And that photo had been in my possession forever, just throughout my whole life. And because of that, another core memory of that logo just being burnt into my. So like I didn't even really. Once I got into sports and started watching hockey, I was like, "Oh well, this is my team because
it's a pretty
I
rad
like the
logo
logo
for one.
Yeah, it's the
really
coolest
good.
logo out of all the teams.
It's
Man.
pretty badass. Better than a maple leaf. Toronto, come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
get
yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's like we're all grown up here. You get past the edgelord thing of like I like the Devils, like
Right.
Devils
Like in
are
New
a good
Jersey.
team. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay, so we got NHL going on. We also have baseball going on. You like baseball at all?
I like going to live games. Boise Hawks, that shit's rad.
Same with NHL, dude. The
The
Steelheads.
Steelheads. Oh, dude.
God, it's fucking amazing.
Oh, I
dude.
love going to Steelhead games.
Oh, it's great.
Love it. But no, man, I won't really watch a baseball game. I've tried. I have severe ADHD. I just can't. It's like watching golf on a Sunday morning. If I'm going to go back to bed, I'll put on golf.
Yeah.
You know, like nothing against golf. I like it, but like, man, I'm going to be snoozing. in,
Yeah,
like,
and the
20
sound of
minutes.
the ocean. Come on.
Yeah, Pebble Beach.
Christ. I mean, I don't have too much more in sports. We got some good fights coming up. The Front Street Fights is tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow night,
Yeah,
do you
tomorrow
like
night.
MMA at all?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've never been the guy that knows everybody. I'm a casual when it comes to that, right? Like I'll hit up my friends like, oh, we're watching the fights. I'm like, sweet, I'll come by, I'll watch it, I'll have a good time. But I don't follow it. I don't whatever. So I enjoy it, but on a casual basis.
Well, we were following the Front Street Fights, and we've been kind of shouting them out every time they do something, and we want to continue on. And so, yeah, tomorrow night they have the fights going on in downtown at the hockey arena,
Yeah,
and it's freaking amazing.
which is now the Idaho Central Credit Union Arena,
Yeah.
I believe.
And highly recommend it. They also have midget wrestling coming up this month.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a blast.
Oh, dude, imagine the terror of the dizzying heights of a power bomb from 3 feet.
So I drug
From a 85-pound individual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I drug my wife to one the first time I took her, and she was like, "What are you taking me to?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. You'll have fun."
Yeah, you're like, it's like the rodeo, but if everyone was just fighting.
We will be drinking White Claws.
No, the second time I was like, "There's midget wrestling coming." She's like, "I'll get tickets." And I was like, "All right."
Dude, you strike me as the kind of guy that would like have your favorite dude. You'd like paint your face. You'd have like the foam fingers.
Right, the Lucha Libre
Yeah.
mask.
I
Yeah.
want to grab some of those guys for a podcast. I want
Hell yeah.
to sit here and talk with them.
Right.
And have them tell me stories. I bet you they have amazing
Oh yeah, they're like,
stories.
I woke up in the trunk of an Acura.
Not an Integra.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've been trying to figure out how to reach out and see if I can't get a couple of guys to come talk to us.
Sure.
That would be amazing, right? But yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs. That's
Go
about
mobile,
it.
man.
That's about it for sports, dude. Let's get into your local hero.
Okay. So I'd say right now my local hero is going to be Mr. Todd Nielsen. He is the owner, proprietor of Realms Arcade, downtown Boise.
Cool.
They opened a little bit over a year ago. They're across from, you know where Fairly Reliable Bob's is, the Corvette store. Right across there, there's a Sinclair, and their building is right behind that Sinclair. It used to be like an Ennis furniture warehouse or something.
Okay, there's an Eberl stock backpack place right there.
Okay.
Love their backpacks, and also a local machine shop. I had to do a 350 small block for me one time there.
Oh, okay.
Lots of good. That's a great place. I love right there, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
They also have the Symposium Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simpo.
Keep
That's
it
the only
Simpo.
place. I used to have a pug that would go everywhere with me, right? And I would ride my bike down, put him in. It was kind of like ET, but he was in my backpack. And we'd go down there and get drunk and eat popcorn together. It was great. Love the Symposium. But yeah, so Todd over at Realms, they've been open for a little over a year. But not only does he bring in a lot of different artists of a lot of different genres, right? It's just kind of like what's going to draw and what's fun. But it's kind of like an event center at the same time because they are putting on kind of just anything that will kind of create a culture, not necessarily a draw, but like a local culture. So they do a lot of the Boise fighting game community, does a lot of tournaments there. So they'll set up, I remember right when Street Fighter 6 came out, they were doing all sorts of tournaments on all their big screens there. And they'll bring in classics. They'll be like, hey, we're doing
Tekken Tag.
Yeah,
Love
or
Tekken
like,
Tag.
King of Fighters 2005 or something, retro throwback. So they do that kind of stuff. They do art shows. They'll do comedy shows, and then just music of all different genres. But it's rad because you walk in, they have like a horseshoe bar with like 10 taps, commissary style food. So they got like a hot dog roller and all that.
Grandma's cookies.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff. Just, grab and eat. But then he's got probably 20 pinball machines. So it all started because Todd was like, man, nobody has a good pinball arcade that's like truly well maintained.
Other than Justin
I gotta
Cantrell.
go check this out because I love pinballs, man.
Yeah.
They are.
Justin Cantrell's got a ton of pinball machines.
Yeah.
He does,
Yeah,
but he
Cantrell
doesn't have nearly as much of what Todd's got going on. Like,
Well,
I love Cantrell.
He's got a mix, of course. He's got
Yes.
more combat in there. He's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
all kinds of games.
So Realms has about 20 pinballs, and they're all under a bunch of like blacklight posters, but they're like actual 70s blacklight posters that he was able to get good ones, throw them up. They look rad. And then he's got like probably a mix of like 30 traditional arcade games in there, and it's everything from like remember the Nintendo Play Choice?
Mhm.
It was the multi-cab,
Of course.
right? So
Yeah, 4
multi-game
different
cabs. Exactly.
Get
So
Metal Slug. You
yep.
get
Well, those were Neo
Fighter.
Geo.
You know what I mean, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has like those. He's got like what was it? Smash TV with the dual controls, right?
Oh.
Right. The inspiration for Demolition Man.
Mhm.
He's got a Seattle Seahawks basketball, like the carnival style basketball games.
Nice.
I always love those little basketball games.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love to see Joust. You remember Joust?
Yeah,
That
I
game
do.
was
I played
amazing.
this shit out, Joe.
I haven't seen Joust in an arcade because we have Jeremy's arcade and we have your buddies who you just said. We
Yeah.
have a couple local ones. And I haven't seen anybody have that old school Joust. Dude.
Yeah.
I love that game.
There was a Joust at Liquid Laughs, but that was probably, I'm talking 10, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
But I'd play the shit out of that back then. It's a great
Great
game, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, got any more to tell us about your buddy's arcade?
Not necessarily, man. Just it's one of those where I think the big appeal is it's family friendly, it's clean. You walk in, you pay at the door essentially like an entrance fee, and then everything's free
You
play.
rest band and you
Yep.
go in.
Everything's
Cool.
free play.
Awesome.
All right. So motorsports. What do you got on motorsports, Chad?
Well, I told you I just hooked that system up in my truck. Sounds amazing. I played a little bit of our old Septic Era through it, actually.
Yeah.
Sounded pretty good. And then, I told you I just got approved for this new place.
Mhm.
So I have a garage again. So I am on the hunt for a project motorcycle first. Something simple. Just getting back into working on projects. I haven't really been able to do motorsports projects in a while.
Mhm.
Can't do it in my my parking lot.
No,
Just
you
can't do
gotta
it.
have space.
Gotta have space. So I'm on a hunt for a bike now.
Nice.
What are you looking for?
Yamaha.
Okay.
At least a 400, probably a 426.
You go in like enduro style, cruiser style,
I don't really
cafe
care about
racer.
enduro if it's a WR. I'll
Okay.
take a WR. If it's a YZ, I'll take a YZ. But I love Yamaha. I've always loved Yamaha. If I could find a Kawasaki, I'd take one too. But I found a YZ 426, maybe a 99, 2000,
Okay.
all taken apart, $300.
Oh wow.
So I think I'm gonna talk to the wife, see if I can make the jump for $300 and get this nice project going. Because I got to do something. I'll go crazy.
There's one thing
Sure.
nice about being here in the Boise area is the trade is there's a lot of things going on.
Of course.
If you're looking for something, you could probably find it, right?
Sure. Well, you can't because you can't use Marketplace. But the rest of us who can use Marketplace, we can find great
I
deals.
Yeah.
obviously pissed off the
Yeah,
Facebook gods
Yeah, you got
because
Zuck,
they're
dude.
like, no marketplace for you.
Well.
Yeah, forever. But whatever.
I told you to get a burner
least-
phone,
I
like a criminal.
Right.
I got Craigslist, man.
No,
Get one of them Obama phones.
exactly.
The coolest thing about Yamaha is like they're like the company where they're like, oh, you need a drum set, oh, you need a stereo, you need a
Piano?
yeah, like
Motorcycle?
anything. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, oh, in Japan they sell mixers for like
they
making
do.
for like cooking.
They do. Well, they also have the like music gear.
Yeah, that's
speakers,
what I'm saying. Yeah,
record players,
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
Yeah.
when,
Yamaha makes
when I
everything.
get old, I'll have the Yamaha heart,
Mhm.
right?
I'll have
exactly.
the Yamaha coffin.
Yeah.
It's sponsored by Kawasaki. Right? Okay, they merged.
I just want my
The year's
I just want
2032.
I just want my coffin in Kawasaki green. That's the coolest fucking color.
Well, I mean, I could make you one pretty easily.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we don't have too much in motorsports other than Cody. What would your dream vehicle be?
Oh shit.
What do you love?
Okay. I really like International Scouts.
Yeah, they're cool.
I really like old Chevy Nomads,
Mhm.
like the old they called them like pie delivery vehicles, right? With like I think it was like the 6-window style.
Well, called Tri-5s.
Okay.
55, 56, 57. They all had that special wing in the back.
Mhm.
Tri-5s, and they had the Nomad model, which was the station wagon.
Yes.
Super
yes,
sick,
yes,
where
yes.
they had the 4-door or 2-door post, convertibles.
Shit, you know all about it. Okay.
Of course, my dad actually owns a 57 right now.
Okay,
57 Bel Air, not a Nomad,
Okay.
just a 57 2-door. It's pretty sick. It just has a old Camaro motor in it.
Uh-huh.
I think he did the 305 out of a Camaro and then a 5-speed. But anyways, yeah, I'm very familiar with anything Chevy. I've grown up on Chevy. I've owned Mini.
Okay.
We just talked. I'm on the hunt for a project, the motorcycle.
Yeah.
After the motorcycle, I will be getting another Chevy Nova.
So check this shit out. So my dad owns a 55 Chevy.
Very
It's
nice.
all original.
Mhm.
That was his grandfather's. And he bought it brand new off the lot, and that thing's pretty damn sweet. And then he has a 57 that he's putting a Corvette engine in. So that one's not
Very
all
nice.
original.
The 55 to the even 56 and then 57. It's so funny seeing the difference of the evolution of them, because the 55, as you know, it was a little bit smaller. The fins were a little way less defined, a little smaller in the car. And then you get to 57 and it's crazy chrome everywhere. The wings are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chevys, my all-time favorite car was always the Corvette Stingrays, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I love the. I don't know the specific year. I guess I'm not that much of a diehard, but the ones that they did like the split back windows.
Yep.
63 was the split window. They did that very specifically. 1963 split window Corvette is one of the most desirable. Everybody loves them. They're at about, for a decent one, $100,000 right now. That you could pick one up.
Oh shit!
My dad's been looking for one, of course. He's
Okay.
like, I gotta have a 53 or 63. It's the epitome of it. He had a 69 when I was a kid, Indy pace car. It was a convertible. It was creamsicle colored, orange and white.
Okay, that's cool.
Super sick car. But he moved out of that, and now he's into it's like a 2007 Corvette 6-speed. Oh, it's sweet.
Okay.
I don't
Love
know
them.
why all these vehicle makers don't just reissue these old models that were beautiful.
Well, they did. They tried to bring back a Camaro and a Firebird,
and like a
Well,
Charger
and a Challenger.
I mean, they did.
They are
the
bringing
Supra.
them
The Supra's ugly.
Bronco.
Right? Like,
Yes, exactly.
the
Yep.
Supra
Toyota
was
Supra is
hideous.
coming
It
out
did
now.
not look like the original Supra, which was a sleek, beautiful machine. Right?
Well, yeah, and that's all safety, right? They're like, oh well, we're going by these standards, so we have to make it in this kind of a design.
Yep.
But for my last two vehicles, man, I'd have to say the Oscar Mayer hot dog vehicle. I would love to own that.
Excellent.
And then so what was it? It was the KLR 650. Was the enduro bike that I absolutely loved. That like one day, man, I want one of those.
Yeah, he's got close to it.
Yeah.
Was that 300, right?
Yeah, it was a 300.
Yep. KLR 3.
Yeah, like I just love
The
those
KX.
for the fact that like you hear about these people that are like, oh, it took me 4 months, but I went from Canada down to like the tip of Chile on my little KLR, you know, and like it was just this great. I got my rifle, like a takedown style rifle, and like a fishing pole in my pack, and my like mechanic kit,
Right.
and I just go. Like that's awesome to me.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's an
Most
adventure,
definitely.
right? Yeah, that's about it on motorsports.
Well, let's get into politics then, dude.
No. Oh no, hang on. Do you have any?
He doesn't want it.
Do you have any martial arts experience?
No.
Have you ever done anything like that?
No, and that's one of those where like so. Yeah, my pops used to do that kind of shit, right? He taught jujitsu for a bit, and then he was like the head of security for the Torch way back in the day. But he and I were kind of a little bit oil and water, so a lot of stuff that he did, I very much purposefully didn't do, you know. And like he owns 2 mechanic shops in the valley, you know, and like my brother was a mechanic when he was alive. My sister is a diesel tech mechanic. Like I'm the one that kind of black sheep, you know. So
I got you.
so yeah, so I never got into that.
All right.
That makes sense on why your dad has these old Chevys then.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right. I guess we get into politics.
Yeah, jump into politics, dude. The only thing really that's funny to me on the politics is people not wanting tariffs on other countries. I don't think people really understand what tariffs are and the leverage of them and why we're throwing a 60% tariff at China,
Well,
who fucks us on every tariff they give us. People wanting us to be fair with China, you're just fucking silly. Don't give your money to Temu and Amazon and all these fucking places that are shuffling all your money to China. Local fucking businesses. Now, Cody, we've had a conversation about you had badass art that you got for. Was it Divinium that you got that fucking kick-ass art for? From the guy. What was he? He was like Belize or something.
The Philippines.
Philippines. Thank you. Yes.
Filipino. Yeah, and that and that was a situation where you just find an artist who's really fucking awesome,
Right.
and it wasn't the fact that he's from another country. It wasn't like, oh, I can't get art from somebody local.
Of course.
It was a matter of just I liked what this kid was doing.
Yeah, that's what you said. You had seen something he had done before, like he had done another metal album or something.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
done shirts for other bands.
That's
and so I originally had hired him. He did 2 different logos for my podcast back in the day. And then I rehired him with the band because I was like, oh, I should talk to that cat. And he just knocked it out of the park. But also with that, it's like, you know, he's charging me, I think it was like $200 for what somebody locally would have charged probably $400. So I just double paid him and said, thanks, dude. Because I think that his time and his skill was worth Like if I'm going to pay John down the street this much, and it's in my budget, why would I not pay this other guy what I think it's worth? And also that money pays so much more of his cost of living,
Absolutely.
right? So like that guy probably shit his pants when he was like, "Holy shit, he just paid my rent twice." You know.
Now he gets to eat extra.
Exactly.
Right? His family gets to eat extra.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's a great thing to spread our wealth, because we've kind of talked about this before. Apparently, if our fucking tax money wasn't squandered for the last however many years, literally the world could be a utopia and nobody would have to fucking work anymore. That's how much money has been squandered from us through our government.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like insane amounts of trillions of dollars that could have fixed the entire fucking world forever and we wouldn't have to work.
Yeah, no,
so, I
no
mean, there's
homelessness, no
nothing, no problems.
Starvation.
No, we just have fun and lay on the beach and create stuff.
Yeah.
Create music and shawls to wear.
Right.
And they fight to keep doing it.
Yeah, they love it. Well, people are money hungry. But anyways, it's funny to me, that people disagree with a tariff on China. Like, what do? They poisoned us since we could remember, giving us lead toys, crazy stuff that's defective. I don't know if,
And they pollute more than...
Oh, yeah, crazy air
They're
pollution.
one of the worst world polluters.
Worst child labor laws.
They mailed me random seeds. This is not a joke. During COVID, I opened up my mailbox one day, and there's a bag of unknown seeds with a bunch of Chinese calligraphy on there.
I've seen...
Kanji.
They were delicious.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't need them. I threw them
Did
away.
you throw tomato seeds
No,
out?
I destroyed them.
Seen,
But
something about this, and they were like sending a noxious plant.
yeah. It's like an invasive species. Yeah. No, I actually got one of those in the mail. Yeah, I didn't eat it, but yeah.
Interesting.
Funny. It's so funny how it's changed so much with the introduction of the Temu and the Amazon and all this, because I know you guys remember when we were young, China was, they had a product that was way less desirable, because like we talked about, they got hit with the lead paint on kids' toys.
Yeah.
They've got hit with products that just break and are cheap. Nobody liked Harbor Freight. They were having a hard time back then, right? And, maybe their stuff is getting better and the prices are getting better, but as we talked about, dude, their child labor laws are insane. They just make little children work. I think they do like prisoner work too, and that's fine. There's an idea.
So do we.
Exactly. Yes, we do too. But I think the difference is we pay our prisoners. China probably would not pay their prisoners.
Yeah, they pay
as
them
well
like
as living
50
situation.
cents a day, though.
Hey, at least you get something, dude. It's more like going out, right? It's not so much you're going to do a job. It's you don't have to sit in your prison cell and rot away with just thinking about what you could do, what you did, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You actually get to go out and make license plates and be a part of society where you're advancing the human race,
right?
Rather than being a downgrade. And now our taxes just pay for you to sit there and lounge and play PS3.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of people on work, at least. Though I see a lot of people on that are always on like construction crews and all that shit with their high vis.
For the last few days, they've been busy at it. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I did HVAC for a little bit, and one of the guys that worked for the HVAC company was a convicted murderer, and he was serving a life sentence, but they allowed him to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why they allowed him to work, really. It's kind of weird. But anyways, he worked for that HVAC company, and he's a different guy.
Sure.
It's a strange thing. He's like, I gotta serve my entire life in this jail, but I get to work.
Right.
Damn, dude. It's like a duty.
That's awesome.
Well, for politics, all I got is this weekend, or not this weekend, May 10th, at Julia Davis. They have the Boise Hemp Fest, and there's a beer garden. It's actually pretty big. Lots of good vendors, and a lot of live music all day long. It's from 10 in the morning to 10 at night. And one day, kind of like get some metal bands down there to support.
I don't know. Stoners aren't really the metal type. They're more of fish.
I'm offended by this opinion.
That's okay.
Stoner, I don't care. A lot of metalheads that
that's besides the point. We're not talking about the metalheads that smoke weed. But, we're talking about stoners in general. Think about Grandma Alice that smoked since '53. Does she want to fucking hear your blazing death metal, or does she want to hear Tom Petty?
I don't care. Well, there's people that are like, she's 18 that don't want to hear the Tom Petty, and they want to hear Tiamat's Destroyer.
Sadly,
Fuck
they do.
Free Falling.
But anyways,
I am in love with Mary Jane.
I support this initiative. If anyone's downtown, go check it out. And I would love to actually walk around and like interview people.
Take that mic.
Well,
that mic. interview.
I'm working on the weekend, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not interviewing nobody because I don't care what nobody's got to say. But
That's
You know,
right.
the problem as I see it with a lot of that is simply the fact that, like, so I'm very pro marijuana, even though I'm like sober, right? I used to smoke pot, don't anymore. It's all good. Really, it just makes me paranoid sometimes, right?
anxiety,
Yeah,
paranoia.
absolutely. And but I'm very like pro it. It's just like alcohol. Like, you know, I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer. I, you know, I don't give a fuck. Drink all you want, whatever. But the problem, as I see it, is that I think it's been introduced, and I don't know where it's at on the local level. But weren't they talking about putting it into the Idaho State Constitution that even if marijuana was federally legalized, that it would still be legalized
Well,
on the state level?
they were just trying to pass something where the Idaho Constitution would state that only the state has the power to
Yes,
legalize
exactly.
it, and so they were trying to literally snatch the power from the
federal
people,
government.
from the people to petition
Right.
Yep.
a change of the law,
And-
which is I'm sorry, that is bullshit.
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
government corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Straight
when
from
you
the
try,
top.
when you try to take power from the people to
Make laws.
petition the laws, that is about the biggest bullshit you can pull.
Mhm.
Fuck Helen Chenoweth.
So
You guys
Yeah.
seen the protesters down at the Capitol building lately?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they've been busy.
They have been busy.
Yeah. My buddy Joe was one of the keynote speakers on at least 2 of the days for that. So familiar, but it's not something that I've been a part of. So
Dude, the volatility of politics right now, whether you're left or right or in the middle, it's such a strange thing to talk about. I mean, it used to be, right? Nobody really used to talk too much about it. But then we kind of opened up about it and started talking about it a little bit. And then that drove a huge wedge into everybody. And now
Yeah.
you're either left or right. There really is no people like, and I know you kind of sit in the same, Cody. You're more middle. There's
I
just
actually
things
am.
that we agree and there's things we disagree,
there's
you
a
know?
lot of shit that I'm very liberal on, and there's a lot of shit that I'm very conservative on.
Exactly.
I honestly think most people are.
Most people are. Dude, I kind of talked to my dad about this. I really don't believe that the far left and the far right are like a 50-50. I think it's probably more like a 10% and a 10%.
They're
And
just
then the
very
rest of
loud.
us, the
They're
other
just very
fucking
loud.
80%
Yeah,
of
yeah.
people is the center people, but the people who are the most loud are the left and the
Absolutely.
right extremists, and that's what gets
Yeah.
seen and portrayed, and that's all anybody wants to see. But the
Yeah.
normal everyday people like us and everybody else is actually pretty close to center, dude. And we're like, well, yeah, these issues are fucked, but we could probably talk about it.
Well, it's like saying, like, you know, like religion. Like, not all Christians are Fred Phelps in the fucking Westboro Baptist
Mhm.
Church. Not all Muslims are you know, like, let's say Hamas or the, you know,
Yep.
ISIS. Like, it's just, yeah, some people are fucking loud. Not all Mormons are FLDS, Warren Jeffs,
Not all-
pedophiles.
Not all Chinese people agree with the way the Chinese government runs China and how we're at this tariff war now with 60% charge on them.
No, but all people who agree with the way China's running things are Chinese.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Well, we don't know that, dude.
Mutual exclusivity.
We really don't know that. We really don't know much because did I take that survey with the Chinese people and say, do
Yeah,
you agree
they're-
with
they're
Xi
string-
Jinping?
They're
Right, right,
stranglehold
right.
on
And
information.
also,
too.
I didn't do it in America with everybody and say, do you agree with Trump and his politics, or
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
agree with Biden, or whatever we could get into? It's not me going and doing the stuff, and I don't really believe that the numbers are what they tell us. I really don't.
Sure.
I'm not fucking falling for it, dude. I think the majority of people believe in live and let live. We're in the fucking center. You extremists are fucking crazy. What are you fighting for? Chill the fuck out and have a conversation. Maybe
Well-
you need to smoke
Well,
weed.
we really got to blame where a lot of this on the sensationalism that the media puts on
Oh, yeah.
extremism.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, it's either left or right extreme.
Yeah, well, it all
course.
started when, like, people like Ted Turner started the 24-hour news cycle. It's like, well, you have to have something to report on
Juicy.
Yeah.
You gotta have the
at all
the
times.
meat.
And it used to be that you had reporters like Walter Cronkite and folks that would just come out and be like, here's factually what we know about what happened with this subject, and they would just report on it, whether they agree with it or not, and move on.
Mhm.
And that was the news.
Yep, we really do not have a non-indoctrinated, really fascist news. We do not have a non-fascist news. Every or not even fascist.
They're all biased.
Biased is a good word. I was going to say they all push their own agenda,
Narrative, yeah.
right? Nobody is like a news for
Sure.
everyone.
Here's how
It's
it
a
is.
news for this side or a news for
when
this side.
someone tells me to watch a credible news source, I'm like, who?
Well, yeah, and that's like
Can't
if
say
there's
that.
something that I want to research, if there's a topic,
Mhm.
topic du jour, I'll be like, cool. If I really want to have an opinion on it, if it sparks my interest enough, and I'm like, okay, I want to learn about this, I'm going to go to multiple sources, right? You're going to be like,
Of
okay,
course.
let's check Al Jazeera. Let's check fucking The Guardian. Let's check Breitbart. Let's check,
What did Alex Jones say on this? What's his crazy ass saying?
Yeah.
Everything.
And it's
But
the
we
only
gotta
way
check
you'll
all
get
of
a
it, dude.
semblance of
International,
that
it'd be like,
truth,
oh, well, maybe the Dutch, like, they're the ones that are actually reporting what's going on. Even
Oh,
though
like
you know.
France will say UFOs exist, right? France is completely opposite of the United States.
Mhm.
In France, they'll be like, oh yeah, we had a crazy UFO sighting, right? So exactly like that.
Yeah.
Just depends on who you're looking at, where you're looking at, and you got to really all encompass look at everybody.
Sure.
Yep. You're never going to get the full story by only watching one station.
Selectivity, yes.
Yep.
All right, so on to a local business. Is there any local businesses that you like to frequent? Someone that you would like to shout out on the podcast?
Yeah, I would
No
say
loitering.
no loitering. Yeah, man, I would say so. VIP Game Store, right? So they've been around for a good amount of years
Yeah,
now.
they have.
Oh,
VIP!
Oh,
Yeah. I started going there, I think, in their first 6 months when they opened, and me being weirdo that frequents places and collects the shit that I do, I've gotten to know. So like the owner is named Bill Greenway, and I've gotten to know that cat to the point of we're actually friends, right? And he's a very family oriented Mormon businessman.
It's quite
I'll say
eccentric.
he is eccentric.
It's quite eccentric.
But he is a very learned, kind human, and
He
I
is.
absolutely love him. I'll go there and like browse, but like when there's no one else in the store, we just talk about life. I ask him for advice. Like he's somebody I truly look up to, and I absolutely love his store because he's the kind of guy that'll be like, if you're selling something to him, he'll be like, okay, here's what I'm offering you. Here's what I'm going to sell it for. There's transparency, right? He's a very transparent businessman.
Cool.
But yeah, VIP, man. They're probably the best place in town to get any sort of retro games, modern games.
He's always got retro consoles out for the kids to play.
Yeah.
Anybody to play. My kids love them. They run right over there when we go to the store, but he's always got the retro stuff out. And then he has every single flavor of Mountain Dew, it seems like.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
heavy duty on it.
And he'll always have like whatever movie playing, and it's funny because he'll be like, it's like a place for like a week. So he'll be like, this week is like, 101 Dalmatians.
He has VHSs that he plays.
Yeah.
He's playing classics. Yep.
Yep.
VHS movies is
That's
what he's
awesome.
playing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great. Love
But
VIP.
God,
Game
it's
Store.
got to get annoying. If you're there every fucking day, you have to watch 101 Dalmatians 97 times until it's time to put on Toy Story 3.
I doubt it. I doubt they're sitting there watching it, right?
I know,
They're
I know.
just. I'm sure if you work there, you'd love that job.
Yeah.
Flipping through old video games, checking for scratches.
I
Like,
almost
this one
did.
used to hit the machine.
We were talking at one point about he eventually opened up a second location in
Mhm.
Mountain Home.
Yep.
And he was looking at another piece of real estate. We briefly talked about like me coming on board, and because I was like, I'll manage some shit. It just didn't work out, and life happens. But yeah, VIP, good stuff.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, we wanted to shout out to the Boise Art Glass in downtown at 1124 Front Street, and their facility is awesome. They have classes, and they will teach you how to make certain things. Sometimes
Make a cup.
sometimes it's seasonal. There is I went in there one time and I did a class and I got to make two things, and so I made a paperweight that Cody's holding right now, and I also made this awesome cup that I used to hold my pencils. But I'm actually pretty proud of that because that turned out really nice.
Yeah,
All green and black.
That's
and
rad.
Swirly and
Now this is the hand blown with metal tube,
Yeah,
correct?
that
This
was-
is not the where you're using a marver pad and a smaller local torch next to you.
And so they also do lamp working.
Lamp work, thank you.
Which is the small torch. They also teach classes on that. So they do like the full range of glass working, and they have a whole shop there with amazing stuff in it. And so really love that business. Actually, want to go do more classes and learn more stuff because it's super fun.
Dude, you gotta get some of that white oak. Make yourself turn this bitch into a
Gandalf
staff,
staff.
dude, a big old like pimp staff.
You
know,
shall
right?
not
Yeah,
pass.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I like the paperweight. It turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Boise Hourglass.
Local business.
You know, they even give away stuff all the time. They like on their social media pages. They like will play stuff out in the public and then do like a treasure hunt for it. And so they're pretty active as a business, not just like come shop here. They give out and they do like specials and
Cool.
stuff. Yeah, they're really
I like
cool.
the window where you can see a ton of art.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right, you can see a ton even as you're driving by.
You can watch them working in there. Yeah.
Yeah, love that place.
That's awesome.
All right, that's probably enough on that, dude. Let's get into world events. You guys
All
see the blackouts through Europe? Everybody freaking out.
No.
No, when did that happen?
Power outages. It's been going on for about a week now. Citizens are worried. I mean, I would be too. That'd suck if your power grid was down,
Sure.
right? That's our way of life now. Everybody lives off the grid unless you're a homesteader.
That
Yeah.
would break down society.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's worrying about it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. See if you guys had heard about it. It's a
No.
little strange. I mean, it's Europe, but as we know, something that happens in another country affects us whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a big world. It's a small world,
It's a
actually.
supply chain.
After all.
Worldwide.
Right? That is a saying for a reason. Sons of bitches.
So that's cool. No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah. What do you got in world events?
All right. Well, all right. So Gulf of America. Do you like it or no?
I just think it's silly. I don't.
I think it's amazing. Like he just becomes president. He's like, I'm going to change the name.
See, and I always thought it'd be funny if Mexico
Uh,
then decided to change
the
the
Gulf
name.
of California.
Yeah, exactly. To the Gulf of Mexico.
I thought the same thing. I was like, that would be genius. Why haven't they done that? What's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Mexico? Like, answer. Come on, answer the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
retort.
just got punched. All right, answer back. Take the Gulf of California
Exactly.
into the Gulf of Mexico. Boom. All right.
Or if they just like copyright struck like the tortilla, they're like, you can't use it anymore. You know what I mean?
If they wanted to do something crazy, they'd cut off avocados.
Yeah.
How are you going to make avocado toast in California if you ain't got no avocados?
The California society would crumble.
It would crumble quick, dude.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
It'd go downhill quick, dude. Them AEVs would be lit on fire quicker than must piss them off.
To their credit, what is California is what the fifth largest economy on the
I
planet.
think it's the third, actually.
So
I think
yeah,
it's number
it's
3.
something like incredible.
I think it's number 3. Yep. I think USA, China.
Could be inflated
California.
like their
Yeah.
bullshit.
I think it's number 3, I believe.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane, dude. It's bigger than a lot of European countries.
Most of them. I think Germany's above them actually. Because I read that the other day. I think it was like
Maybe it is 5.
it was
You
like
might be
the
right.
U.S., China, Germany.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
Very few.
All right, and one more thing. Canada as a state. What do you think about that? Yes or no?
Again, I think it's just silly. I think it's silly business.
Yeah, leave
I
Canada
believe
alone.
I believe in sovereignty. man.
That'd be
Yeah.
kind of silly as a plan for the right to draw in a country that's majority liberal.
That's
the
exactly
quickest-
what
that's
I
the
was
quickest
thinking.
way
I
to
was
lose
like,
your vote,
that's
right?
a
Oh, sure.
huge
And that's exactly
liberal
what's
pull.
happening here in Idaho is
Yeah.
we've been constant Republican red
Yeah.
for countless years. And now with the influx of Californians, we are slowly switching to blue.
I think the
Right.
only point that we would be ready to accept them as a state is if their liberalness got so bad that they were begging us to come to
A
us.
lot of
And if
a
they
lot of them are.
promise, and if they promise to reanimate John Candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
well,
Cool running.
I mean, they just like repopulate our main dire wolves. They're going to do woolly mammoth soon. Why couldn't they do like John
Yeah.
Candy?
The whole Candy family.
Yeah,
There's got to be candies out there that we would love. We haven't even met yet.
yeah.
Philip Candy from 1876.
I love Home Alone. He didn't even get paid for his polka band.
Yeah.
In the back of a U-Haul.
Yep.
He just drank coffee back there and had fun.
Yep.
Yep. Good times.
So, are you a vinyl guy? Do you like records?
Yes and no. You said vinyl, like vinyl records?
Vinyl
Yeah.
records.
So, it used to be, right? I used to have a really cool turntable. Ended up giving it to a buddy. I probably only own like 5 records now. It's just one of those things where like I started to have to take inventory of all these different things that I'm like obsessive about and collecting, and that was one of the things that was on the fucking shopping block for me.
It is,
So,
it is sort of a dedicated practice to get collecting those vinyls.
Yep, I
Weighs
love
a lot.
But we always put a new vinyl up here every
Oh, cool.
episode, and so I pulled out a couple comedy ones, and we got some George Carlin, which I love this record because look at the shirt,
Yeah.
Right, you flip it over.
What year would that have been? There you go.
72.
Let's see, what year is this? 1974.
Okay.
Was close.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
David Records Company. All right, so pulled out my Cheech and Chong Big Bamboo record. All right,
Uh-huh.
and when I found this, I was actually surprised because it had. I thought it would be the whole paper, but they got most of the paper, the original paper. It looks like someone ripped off a chunk of it.
And smoked it.
Smoked it, yeah, exactly.
Right, but they didn't smoke the whole thing.
No. Just a little connection to them.
But I was like super stoked to find the original.
That's cool, yeah.
With the paper still in it, and that's rare. And then found this not too long ago.
Richard Pryor.
Dude, Richard Pryor is awesome.
Oh, yeah,
When I
of
seen
course.
a Richard Pryor record, I was like, that's going home with me.
You know, I only owned one comedy album. It was Bill Cosby. It was called like
That didn't age well.
Sleeping with My Brother George, and I'm like, this guy's out raping ladies, and now he's fucking his brother?
Yep.
What the hell?
Not a good guy.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor, though.
Oh.
See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Yeah.
Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Blazing Saddles?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So much good comedy from that guy. You know,
Classic.
Too bad his life got cut short. But yeah, we love our vinyls here on the Creatures Cortex
Dude.
podcast.
I am on the hunt for a Cradle album. I got to get MIDI in.
Yeah.
I'm about to get this new place. I'm going to set up my system again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, plus you'll have the band room system.
That's what I'm saying.
Too. Oh.
I'm going to have a system again. I'm going to have a player again.
There you
I
go.
haven't really set one up in this new place where we've been, so I need a Cradle album or Offspring.
Yeah.
Offspring would work as well.
I will say that I do have a really good turntable set up that I didn't get rid of. It's just in storage. But I bought this setup off of Craigslist, and it was from the dude turned out to be the principal of Greenleaf High School. Weird thing,
Pretty
but
far out there.
yeah,
I love Greenleaf, though. Greenleaf's sick, dude.
yeah, the little city.
Mhm. Right
So
outside Caldwell.
I remember sitting down and listening to albums on a good system, right? Wasn't one of those you buy at fucking Hastings and whatever. But it was the first time, like with a fresh needle and everything, being like, oh my God, I'm listening to albums that I thought I knew like the back of my hand. Say like Dark Side of the Moon or El Creepo's Aloha. And I'm hearing stuff that I didn't hear before on like a digital or a CD or something. And then doing the research and learning, oh, well, when they compress that, they're taking out the peaks and valleys of the kilohertz. But then listening to stuff and being like, oh, there's like a percussive scrape that I never heard before. Or like there's a little bit of reverb on the vocal coming out of the bridge on this song that like I didn't hear before until I listened to it on a good system on vinyl.
Yeah, the full encompassing sound
Yeah.
that an audiophile's looking for.
Exactly.
Right? Not a CD, not something on the radio where it's sped up a little bit
And
and cut
not
down.
everyone that listens to music is going to hear that. It takes
Right.
someone that's actually listening to like everything.
Well, and we are musicians, so
Yeah.
we have a little different view, of
and
course.
so
yeah.
I had that same experience, very same experience. I was like, why haven't I been listening to vinyl this entire time?
Yeah.
Right? I feel
Yeah.
like I've robbed myself of a rich experience.
Absolutely.
And so, love the vinyls, man. That's a cool story, Cody. So we're almost here at the end. Got a couple more questions for you. Do you got any?
Damn right I do.
Random questions?
Yeah,
still
you
on
go
it?
ahead, though.
Okay.
I'm
All
waiting
right,
patiently.
so you I know you were doing trivia. Are you still doing trivia nights anywhere?
No, that was just a side gig, man, just to make a little bit extra money. It was a lot of fun. But actually, I shouldn't answer so quick because it turns out, I want to say, I can look up the date if you want, but I am hosting a trivia night at Flying Pie coming up.
Well, we do
on
want the
Fairview.
date.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this.
Well,
I'll
you
tell
don't
them
have to do it right now. We'll do it at the end of the plug
Okay,
and say what we're
fair
going on. But
But yeah, so I'm doing my best friend's fiance works for Flying Pie over on Fairview,
Love Flying Pie.
that location, and she's
Of
setting
course.
up. It's a charity night, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to come and host this trivia night." And I was like, "Cool, you know, my life's so busy right now. If you have the audio equipment set up and you have the questions ready, I will just show up and like I'll be the monkey and I'll perform." You know, so I am doing that coming up soon, but.
Nice.
It's because she used to come and do it because there was 4 years solid that I would host trivia nights like 2-3 nights a week at different bars, you know. And
you did it at Edge too, didn't
I
you?
did it at Edge,
Yep.
yeah. There was a bunch of different spots that I would, a couple different breweries like Crooked Fence.
So you must enjoy it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, it was a lot of because it was cool because what I really liked was reading a room and figuring out what kind of music to play, because a lot of times it'd be you ask a question, they have 2 minutes, 3 minutes to write their answer, bring it in. So in the interim of that time, we're playing music, right? So I'd just be reading the room and be like, oh, she likes Neil Young, she's that demographic.
All right.
This
Neil
guy,
Diamond.
and just being like, okay, like this is a Soundgarden crowd, this is the Mamas and the Papas crowd, this is a whatever. And so it's cool to be able to like just kind of tailor a playlist for the night based on the crowd.
This is a dog fashion disco crowd.
Yeah, dude, I never got that, but I wish. But yeah, it was cool because then I could also kind of just get drunk and schmooze, just put on the voice and just be like, alrighty guys, what's going on? This first question is, who was the heir apparent to the throne of Poland, 1965? You got 2 minutes, and just do the stripper announcer voice, It's fun.
Cody's got a drive to perform, whether it's music, comedy, doing the trivia night. Yeah. You just love to perform.
Yeah.
He's always been doing something. That's what I like about this guy.
Yeah, that's why we have him on.
Yeah.
Because he does stuff. We're not fucking trying to get people who don't do shit.
Sure.
Yeah, you boring fucks.
Yeah.
Get fucked. We want the people who have fun and live their life.
Motivated,
right?
That are actually like moving forward to something, right?
Oh, that brings me into my question.
Sure.
Well, actually, this is a new tech. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. They are just now quantum teleporting photons, right? So this is the beginning of like Star Trek stuff, where we can replicate and move stuff. Mm-hmm. Have you guys heard of this?
Yes, I have, and all right. So there's philosophical debates about
of course, you're going to lose your soul when you teleport.
When you teleport, are you actually
blah, blah.
dying and being reborn basically in that split second?
Yep. Yeah, because it's not the original particles of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to my question, Cody. You can quantum teleport to your younger self at any time you want. Give yourself one piece of advice. What was that and why?
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, that's a hard one, man.
Hey,
do I want to get dark with it? Real?
Hey, Chad tries to give you some stumpers now and then.
Yeah.
He's laid some on me, and I was like, damn it, Chad.
Think about it as long as you want.
Sure.
We can fucking edit this bitch down and cut this out,
cool.
all right? It's no time limit. Just...
Yeah. Okay, no, I got it. It would simply be, if I could go back to, let's say 2007, I was 18 years old, I would like to grab myself by the fucking shoulders and say, hey, man, go try to get a goddamn home loan in the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you'll qualify.
100%.
That 2-bedroom, 1-bath starter home is literally $90,000.
25. Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with investing. There is wrong times like right now. My wife and I have talked about it. Now's not the time to buy a $350,000 home that you're going to pay $1.1 million on after
at like
interest.
8%
I'm sure
interest.
the banks love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the people because we're not for the fucking
bank.
bank.
Because like you're talking, the amortization of the loan, the total payment of that loan is going to be
triple.
Yeah,
plus.
Exactly.
Of course. Well, we're in insane rates right now, so now's not the time to buy, but there is a time to buy.
Yeah.
Right? So that is an excellent piece of advice to give yourself. My dude, now is the time where we offer you the ability to...
Oh, wait. I'm not done with them yet.
Oh,
I'm not
I thought you were done.
I'm not done with them yet. No, I was waiting for you.
Keep questioning then, Carl.
Okay. So what's up with the name changing, all right? One day,
you're
Robert
Falcon
Jones. One day, you're goddamn Papa Smurf or whatever. Like
Papa Smurf, that's a good one. I'll do that next week. So I found out that you can change your name on Facebook, right? And so I had fun with it. I think the first time I changed my name was to Van Hammersley, which is a character from Mr. Show, which was a sketch show on HBO. Bob Odenkirk, David Cross. So I found out you could change your name. Then I found out it would let me change my name every 60 days. And so I had originally kind of done it because now that I work in a much more professional capacity for my 9 to 5, and it's not, working in a brewery where I know the owner and I can walk up and like tell him dick jokes. I don't really necessarily want it to be easy to find me and my opinions and what I have to say on the internet, right? So I was like, okay, let's change your name.
It is very subversive. I'm like, dude, I know who you are. Like, whoa.
Yeah. But it's like, so now it's every 60 days I can change my name. So I have a rule for myself now. I can't come up with it beforehand. It can't be premeditated. So I have an alarm set, like a recurrent alarm. Every 60 days, it's like 7 a.m., right? It'll just wake me the fuck up, and it says change your name. So then I just have to, like, alarm goes off. I sit up and I'm like, Charles Handsome, and my fucking Kara's like, what the fuck? Like, they thinks we're being robbed, and I'm like, no, it's just my name.
No, I'm
like,
Peanut Butter McJenkins now. Leave me alone.
Exactly. I'm Stimpleton Potson. And so
that's great.
it has to be spur of the moment every 60 days, just because fuck it, it's fun.
Yeah, I had to ask you about that.
It keeps me entertained.
Also, one last thing I want to ask you. You were a podcaster for a long time, a very successful podcast, Full Metal Brewer.
You allowed us to make the music for your podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, that was a good jam too. But as a person who's had a lot of experience in podcasts, what advice would you offer us as a continued success for us?
Oh, okay. I would say keep doing what you're doing. Keep it as do it. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Do it for your fucking selves, right? Do exactly what you want. Your audience will find you. As far as like marketing, put a little bit of money into those Facebook ads and stuff. That shit really works.
Okay.
It worked a lot for me when I had what's called an RSS feed. That's what you would get when you put it onto things like Spotify, Apple Play Music, all that kind of stuff. Once you get those kinds of whatever your host was, mine was a company called Podbean. It will give you analytics, and that was one of the most inspiring things. Was because I would be able to look, and it'd be like, holy shit! This episode over the last month, I had 5 listeners from Egypt. I had maybe 2. I think we're talking single-digit, double-digit numbers for maybe triple on each country. But it would break down where your listeners come from. And it would be like, holy, I had 3 people from the island of Cyprus. Like, that's fucking bizarre. Yeah, it's only 3 people, but like that's cool, man. Like 3 people enjoyed that shit because it would only give you a listen if they listened to at least like I think 20% of an episode. So we're not talking about a click on, click off kind of analytic. And so that would give me some of the most inspiration to keep me going was being able to just like know that like this is actually it's not just people in the state of Idaho that were listening to my shit, right? And so even if it were, it'd be like, cool, hey, here's the demographics. It was women 20 to 40, like that was 12% of the whatever. Just the analytics in general kept me inspired to a degree. But beyond that, just don't ever feel like you're stuck in a formula, right? So be willing to shift and change.
We just talked about that.
Yeah,
we just added comedy to our lineup. We do music, video games, movies, blah blah blah. We have our list of what we normally do. Right. We talked about it. We're like, all right, Cody is a comedian. We are now adding comedy to our fucking show. Things we want to talk about would be like the Funny Bone here in Boise, right? Have you ever performed there?
No, Funny Bone shut down before I ever had, started doing comedy. Because the Funny Bone shut down, I want to say in like 2005, 2004, something like that.
It was a little after that, but yeah, it was a while ago.
Because then the owners of the Funny Bone opened up a place. It was called like Yucks or some stupid ass name that turned into Fatties across from Bitter Creek there. But yeah, so the Funny Bone's been, but the Funny Bone building is what became Liquid Labs. Mm-hmm. And so I performed there tons of times. That's where I did the majority of that. That was home base. So
awesome.
Well, I think that brings us to the end.
Yeah, dude, that's the end. Why don't you go ahead and plug whatever you got going on? If your Divinium's doing stuff, if you're wanting to, now's the time to look up the stuff for your trivia, get everything rolling that you want to tell us about, my dude.
Gotcha. Okay. So I've got the flyer here actually for that Flying Pie.
Send that to David and he'll just put it on there.
Cool. So again, this is going to be a charity event. It's called Caden's Night Trivia Fundraiser. So it's a night of trivia, pizza, beer, and good vibes. It's going to be May 13th, 6 p.m. at Flying Pie on Fairview. And it is with Flying Pie and the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Idaho.
Cool. Okay.
So,
we love Flying Pie, dude. Great pizza. Habanero pizza. Delicious. I love their all-you-can-eat buffet.
Dude, so so habanero pizza story. Mm-hmm. So they do the single, the double, the triple, right? And it's all just about how many hobs they throw into the Roku, blitz them up, and throw it onto a pie. So when I first started doing that, my buddy Mario worked there, so he would do a quad pie for us, right?
Even more heavy duty.
Oh, yeah. And it would be like when you're eating something so hot, it starts releasing endorphins. It's almost like getting high, and it's just like fun. That was so cool when I was in my early 20s. Now that I'm in my mid 30s, fuck that, dude. I will go and I will order a single hob, and I'll add dollops of cream cheese. You can order it with cream cheese.
Jazz it down
And
a little.
I'm a pizza on or a pineapple on pizza kind of guy. So I'll do the single hob with cream cheese and the fucking pineapple and that chicken. It's amazing. It's great.
Hell yeah. A pineapple pizza that I love is like an original Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Except you add roasted red peppers to it.
Oh, okay.
It zazzes it up a little bit, dude. It's so damn good.
So
Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
We didn't ask you.
And
Oh,
Chef
man.
Hams agrees with me.
Hey, we didn't ask
fuck
you.
guys, right?
So when I was running the kitchen at Tap House, we were starting to do flatbread pizzas. And so my idea was, I was like, hey guys, how about we're going to do this one? I call it the Pearl Harbor. It's a Hawaiian with Japs. And they were like, no, you're not allowed. No, you're not allowed. So
Might have got some
that
flack
was
for
funny,
it.
man. What the hell?
yeah,
People just have no sense of humor.
I know.
No, we're talking about that, about my joke about people looking in the mirror and not being happy with themselves.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very sensitive nowadays as compared to where we really came from as, you know,
Oh, yeah.
as children born of the 80s,
Yeah.
70s, even later 80s and early 90s. We were a lot more desensitized to trauma than kids are now.
Absolutely. And, you know, as an adult that goes to therapy, like I don't have a problem talking about that, right? Some people just, it's not a shortcoming.
Well, there shouldn't be a
It's-
stigma about it
Yeah.
because you need to talk to somebody.
Right.
Why would that be a stigma?
Yeah, but it is, right?
It
And
is.
so I'm part of a men's group called Mentorship. And Mentorship was founded by Evan Seinfeld of the band Biohazard. And it is a there's an app, but the majority of this, at least in my experience, how I use Mentorship, is that there's a Sunday morning meeting, and it's like a Zoom call. And there's usually about 20 or so people, and it's kind of a call and response thing where like they give a kind of a topic. We start talking about shit, come up with a topic. Hey, let's talk about a time that you felt like what was going to be a hard situation or a shortcoming, the actual results of that became a blessing, right? And so, okay, everyone starts thinking about their shit, and they'd be like, okay, Chad, you got the fucking mic, and you'd have 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You'd talk about that, and then there'd be 3 minutes for response from the other men in the group, and everyone, and then off that group, you're able to reach out and talk to people. Be like, hey, man, I'm having a really fucking hard time with X, Y, and Z. I talk to somebody. And
I'd
somebody
assume that
hits you
the
up.
topic you're talking about is your current topic, right? That'd be the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's a kind of a group where it's like, if you don't want to talk about the topic at hand, if you have something that's heavy on your heart and pressing, feel free. It's never like, no, we have to stick to these. It's
Right.
just that's the suggested topic. But it's a company called Mentorship. And unlike a lot of other like self-help or, therapy sessions, this shit's $10 a month. Okay. Evan's not out there, bilking people for all this, grand amounts of money. It's something that I use and that I think is something that a lot of people should fucking look into, because men, statistically, we're so fucking high on like suicide rate, and we're so fucking high on
Depression.
substance abuse
Unhappy.
because of those issues.
Well, sometimes
right?
your problem all you need to do is just talk to someone with a different perspective to get through your problem. Quite honestly,
Yeah.
a lot of times, right?
Which is exactly what something like Mentorship gives me the power to do, right? Is like kind of have a sounding board. Be like, I'm talking to 15 other guys about this, and they all have all these different life experiences, and they're from around the world. There's people from Peru that are on there. There's people from Russia. There's people everywhere, right? And so it's something I really enjoy. So a little bit more of a plug there, but yeah,
That's pretty honorable.
Mentorship, man.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You got anything else you want to plug? You want to talk about? You got concerts coming up? You're recording?
No, like I said, well, yeah, we do have a show coming up, and then recordings are going to be once.
Yeah, when coming out with that second album.
Yeah, so that's going to be, I'm assuming we're going to go into the studio like end of July, somewhere around there. But
And next time you come, bring one of your band members, because we get to have another person and have a tables, but
Awesome.
and of course it's not going to be your last time here.
And we want swag, dude. We want a Divinium CD.
There you go.
We
Yeah.
want something to put on the wall.
Yeah, I'm good with that. But yeah, so yeah, we're playing that show at Mad Sweet. I believe it's
He
June
did bring us
21st.
something. He brought us.
A video game.
He brought us a video game, so that's our first swag.
That is cool.
By a guest.
That is not the first. We got Mikey's CD.
Oh, and yeah, that's right, Mikey CD.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're gonna have to have a collection of like.
We are, and they're going on the wall.
Awesome.
Easter eggs.
Hell
So
yeah.
thank you for the Eternal Champions from the Genesis, the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, well, you, my friend, are an eternal champion. So
we
And a
all
sensei.
are. We
hell
all
yeah.
are. So
Hell yeah. Great
Thanks for
podcast,
having me,
gentlemen.
boys.
Let's shut it down with that. Great talking to you, Cody. Great having you on. Thank you for your inspiration, dude. We loved your podcast. We love being able to do the music for it.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome. You got anything else you want to say before we go?
live long and prosper.
Yeah, piss off.